The 24 hours before some of the world's greatest fighters enter the octagon is always a very busy time, filled with meetings, adrenaline, and many commitments.
49.
There's the doctor's physicals. A process that is taken very seriously, and some have to get down to a specified weight for the middleweights under 200 pounds.
It's time to eat now, man. Damn. Cutting weight sucks.
The fighters meeting where Big John McCarthy makes certain everyone knows the rules.
No throat strikes of any kind, no fingers in your opponent's mouth, which is the fish hooking, no hair pulling, no headbutting. There is no elbow strikes to the back of the head or neck. That doesn't mean you can't punch.
It's the fighter's opportunity to ask any question that they may have.
I'll let you work at it for a little bit, but if you continue to try and you can't do it, after a while we're going to stop it and stand you back up.
I really appreciate the level of competition that's here tonight, and I appreciate
John Peretti, the matchmaker, is responsible for bringing these great mixed martial artists together. And Chairman Bob Meyrowitz continues to make sure the UFC is the Super Bowl of mixed martial arts.
Personally, say thank you to almost everyone here in this room, because at one time or another you've all stepped up for us. It's appreciated.
And once the meetings are over, they lock the gates in the octagon, and everyone better buckle up because it is always one heck of a ride.
Let's get it on.
UFC 19.
It is peaceful and serene as daytime falls upon Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. But I can tell you battles have been won and lost here before, like in 1814. And in October of 1997, we first visited Casino Magic, and now we are back, and the octagon gates are open. This is Casino Magic, Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, and we are set for UFC 19. Hi again, everybody. I'm Mike Goldberg, and welcome inside the octagon here on UFC 19. The theme tonight, young guns, but there will always be some who try to avenge, look for revenge, and others in search of redemption. We have some great matchups, 6 in all, and we are glad that you are once again a part of what we hope will be an historic evening. Joining me always is Jeff Blatnick, the gold medalist in Olympic wrestling, and I'll tell you what, you talk about your favorites, the heavyweights. We have got a great matchup between a veteran in Maurice Smith and one of those young guns in Kevin Randleman.
Well, Maurice Smith, former champion. At the time, he took down what looked like an invincible Mark Coleman, and of course, he is a legend in kickboxing. He lost a controversial decision to a very game Randy Couture in Ultimate Japan and lost the title, and he has been away from the octagon since. He is coming back, and he is coming back with an attitude that he wants to be the heavyweight title champion. Taking on Kevin Randleman, great collegiate wrestler, 5-2 in mixed martial arts competition, all down in Brazil. Looks to be a great matchup.
Something about youth that is very gratifying is the fact of how excited they are to enter the octagon. Neither of these fighters lacks any sense of confidence.
Kevin's going to be, like I said, he's cocky enough where he's going to try to stand up with me, but I don't think he won't do it for long. Unless he works on the shooting, his shoot won't be too big a deal. And then he'll probably just want to push me against the fence a lot. So I don't foresee him having any major concerns other than strength, and his stamina depends how much I move him. I gotta make him move to make mistakes.
Anyone that's ever watched me fight, they know that I like to stand up. I love to take punches. I love to give punches. I love, I'd have to say 88% of my punches land directly on the face. I don't throw body shots. But I'm prepared to throw a lot of body shots. I'm prepared to throw 3,000 punches in 15 minutes. I've trained this hard. I do not think Maurice Smith can beat me. The only way he can beat me is he brings that foot over top and kicks me in my head. That is the only way. I don't think that if it goes a distance that he can ever get a decision against me. I think it's time for new blood. And I'm here.
A renaissance fighter, Kevin Randleman calls himself. He will take on one of the UFC veterans, a proud champion, and Maurice Smith. And that is a matchup which continues our road to the heavyweight title and an opportunity to meet the great Bas Rutten, who was so impressive in his victory the last time we all entered the octagon. Middleweights, a rematch. Tito Ortiz, Guy Mezger.
This ought to be a war. Guy Metzger defeated Tito Ortiz by choke. But in that fight, there was a situation in which Metzger was caught under Ortiz in a cradle, and Ortiz seemed to have an advantage and opened up a cut on Metzger's head. The fight was stopped, and in the eventual stand-up that got Metzger out of that situation, Metzger wound up winning the fight. Because of that, Ortiz says he wants revenge. He feels he can beat Metzger if there wasn't that little interference in stand-up. However, Metzger looks at it as first and foremost, it was a tournament, had a tough first match, I can beat you straight out in a straight out fight. And that is something in which Metzger's coming in. Defend his pride, defend the Lions' Den pride, and revenge Ortiz's victory over Jerry Bolander.
Our judges this evening, 3 of them, may be forced to render decisions throughout our event. Jeff Mullen from Memphis, Tennessee, the chief instructor at the Mid-South Karate and Kickboxing Academy. Dan Mirgliotti from Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, a veteran of shoot fighting and other disciplines, including Muay Thai. And Joe Ancona from New Orleans, Louisiana, are 3 judges for tonight's matchups. Matchup number 1 is in the heavyweight division, a veteran of the UFC, Pete Williams. He says, sometimes you can call me Petey, but he is Pete Williams tonight, taking on Jason Godsey in our first fight on this great card.
Pete Williams rocked the mixed martial arts world in his first appearance in the octagon last May at UFC 17. In the upset of the night, this Lions Den fighter took out Mark the Hammer Coleman with perhaps the finest kick the UFC has seen in its 6-year history. He returned at Ultimate Brazil to take on up-and-coming heavyweight Tsuyoshi Kosaka. The 2 battled through a regulation and overtime period before Kosaka was awarded the split decision victory. Tonight, Pete Williams attempts to return to winning form.
You got to be prepared, physically and mentally to, see the fight through and go to fight to win. Don't fight to, to get through it,
Pete's a good fighter. He's strong. He's good on there. He's sort of like me in that he's good all around. I don't know that he has any glaring weaknesses. I don't know that he has any, super strengths either. So he's a tough guy. He's going to be hard to submit. He's going to be hard to knock out. I think it'll be actually, if I was a matchmaker, it'd be a pretty good fight.
Jason Godsey, his discipline is pancration. He's a heavyweight. He is not a youngster. He has waited a long time for this opportunity to enter the octagon at 35 years old. Born in Kendallville, Indiana, fighting out of Indianapolis, has the key elements that include good groundwork and a strong punching ability.
Has that background in wrestling and pancration, and pancrase is something in which it's all about submission and grappling arts, not a lot of striking there. He's 4-3 in his mixed martial arts record, with wins over former champion Steve Jenham of the UFC, and of course Jeremy Horn, who we're going to see later in the show.
Jeremy will be part of the card, but first Jason Godsey gets his opportunity tonight to make his UFC debut. Talking to Petey Williams at the last UFC, he said, "You guys always call me Petey." I said, "Well, I thought you were Petey like Mikey Burnett." He said, "You know what? It doesn't matter. Spell my name right and talk about me well in victory." Masked in black, Petey Williams, his nickname El Duro, which means the hard one. From San Lorenzo, California, fighting now out of one of the many Lions dens around the nation. In Dallas, Texas, we have seen his ability to be forceful in an overtime session in the past.
Williams has great leg kicks, particularly to the legs, but he's capable, as you saw with Coleman, to bring it up high and attack the head. Pretty good reach on him. He can throw some punches. And of course, he's wrestling with Guy Metzger. He understands pancrase and all the submission holds.
12 years younger is Pete Williams than Jason Godsey, and just 2 pounds separate these 2 fighters. The experience goes to Pete Williams inside the octagon walls, as he has been here before and had made a very impressive debut in UFC 17. A man who has been around for a long time is the veteran voice inside the octagon, here again with us this evening, and we're thankful for it. Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from Casino Magic in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Tonight, SEG Sports presents an international telecast and worldwide pay-per-view event. This event is sanctioned by the Mississippi State Athletic Commission with Mr. Billy Lyons, Chairman, and Mr. Saul Taranto, Chief Deputy Commissioner. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the fans are ready. The fans watching around the world are ready. The fighters are ready. The judges are ready. Because now it's time to begin UFC 19. Our first fight of the evening is a heavyweight fight beginning with the competitor standing to my left. He is fighting out of the Integrated Fighting Academy. He has a mixed martial arts record of 4-3. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 238 pounds. Fighting out of Kendallville, Indiana, and making his octagon debut, please welcome Jason Godsey. And his opponent, standing to my right, he is a submission fighter with a mixed martial arts record of 4-1. He is a veteran of UFC 17 and Ultimate Brazil. Standing 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 236 pounds, and fighting out of the Lion's Den in San Lorenzo, Texas. Please welcome back to the octagon, Pete Williams! And our referee for this event is Mr. Tony Molinax.
Tony Molinax again will be one of our 2 referees this evening as we are set to begin UFC 19.
Ready?
We were here in 1997. We're back tonight, and we are ready to start fight number 1. Petey Williams, who was disappointed in his split decision defeat at the hands of Tsuyoshi Kosaka in Brazil, looking for a bit of his own personal redemption.
Wow, Godsey, the aggressor. Williams, the takedown man there. Lands in a close guard now.
Remember, Pete and Jerry Bolander were on the same high school wrestling team, so ground skills are not often a concern for Pete Williams. Petey got a shot there, a quick hit, as Godsey striking from his backside.
I would tend to believe that Williams probably feels a little bit better on his feet for his offensive weapons than here within Godsey's guard. Godsey trying to be aggressive on bottom, looking to strike all very short punches and such into Pete's face.
That's it, work the body, the legs come open.
Godsey, competing in the sport of pancrase for many, many years, said about Pete that he knows that Pete was able to stop Coleman's doubles, and he knows that Pete has a good wrestling background. He is not taking his opponent lightly. It does not matter where they are right now positioning. Both are trying to fire punches.
Well, Williams stayed back on his haunches, and there he was able to get up and pass the legs. He's now in a side mount. Now he can start having opportunities to go ahead and use some strikes. Half guard now by Godsey, trying to get back into a defensive position.
As always, the leader of the Lion's Den. In his fighter's corner, Ken Shamrock, along with Mikey Burnett.
Oh, look for possible knee bar by Williams. Knee bar by Williams here. I don't know if he has it yet. It looks good.
Petey Williams has submitted Jason Godsey. 1 minute and 56 seconds into the matchup, and Williams is victorious.
Well, Williams bided his time. He finally backed off of the legs instead of trying to move forward to the head and strike. He backed out, They started trading submission opportunities. Gotze went after him, but it was Williams who locked up the knee bar. Part of that reason, too, is if you're down on the ground, you don't have a lot of mobility, where Williams standing up had a little bit more ability to drop down into the hold. And once he dropped down and got the hold, really your whole body against one extremity, the body strength is going to win, and Williams was able to submit Gotze. There you see it, Williams down now. Now he's hooked the heel, now he'll just arch his back, straightening the leg of Gotze. And that led to the submission. Another look at it, you'll see him in the half guard. Now he's going to start to back out. And as he does, Gotze throws the legs up in the air, and as Pete's leg travels forward, Gotze seizes the ankle. Pete positions himself, drops into the knee bar. Good back extension here to lock it out.
Both of you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner at 1 minute and 54 seconds. For the winner, Pete Williams. Into the hand for Mr. Jason Gotze.
Well, Williams, Lions Den, certainly big victory for him. He had a tough loss against Tsuyoshi Kosaka, and he was able to get it together, train, and come back, and great performance here. Early on, Gotze became the aggressor and started chasing Pete Williams, an obvious opportunity to drop underneath, and Williams wasted no time doing it. Beautiful double leg, landing in Gotze's guard, and from there he would start to work. Let's go to Mike Goldberg with a victorious Pete Williams.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. Under 2 minutes, Petey, and you were able to get the submission.
Yeah, he was staying real aggressive, you know. He came at me a lot stronger than I thought he would. He came with some punches. That's how I took him down. He was a little wild, so I just said, you know, I'm going to shoot, take him down. I was actually thinking stay on the feet, but, you know, I really couldn't get off because he was in my face, so took him to the mat, passed his guard, went to the half guard. The knee was there, so I took it. You know, I was confident in my submission skills, so I wasn't too worried about giving up position for the knee bar.
Pete, since the disappointment in Brazil, the split decision loss to TK, how has your life, your training changed?
I think it just gave me something to focus on. Something, you know, I look at that fight and I said, hey, you know, that wasn't me. I wasn't there. And so I changed a lot, you know. And I'm going to continue to get better, you know. Next fight, I'll be changing even more for the better, obviously. So.
Physically, you look bigger, you look stronger, and I know you have your eye on a chance at the heavyweight belt.
That's the ultimate prize, is the belt. That's what I'm looking for. And yeah, like I said, you know, I just ate right. I changed my diet up dramatically. Trained, you know, 2-3 times a day. And I was able to keep on about an extra 5 pounds for this fight. Instead of dropping down to about 227, I was about 236, you know, 235 for this fight.
Petey, it's interesting because it doesn't happen often, but they have lost before, members of the Lions Den. What is it like, the support that you get in defeat, which is more important, because when you win, you're on top of the world. In defeat, your confidence is hurt. What does the Lions Den mean to you when the times come tough upon a fighter's life?
To call it a team is just kind of a sports term. I consider it more of a family, really. They're all like my brothers. And, you know, just like a family member, when they're down, the family comes around, gathers around, supports him, you know, puts him back up on his feet, you know, and just gets him to where he can go back out there and do what he does best. Because in my mind, I may be a little bit biased, but we're the best. And we're going to continue to prove that.
Took a step again towards proving it. Thanks. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pete Williams wins the first matchup of the evening, and if it is a brotherhood, then the big brother, of course, is none other than UFC legend Ken Shamrock, always in the Lion Den corner.
Before he became a champion in the WWF, Ken Shamrock rocked the mixed martial arts world in the UFC.
When I was in the Octagon, those were the toughest days of the UFC.
See interviews, never-before-seen footage, and the legendary battles that made him the world's most dangerous man.
See my classic battles with Royce Gracie, Chemo, and Dan the Beast Severn.
Ultimate Ken Shamrock, fighting April 2nd.
Don't miss it on pay-per-view.
And joining us live is Ken Shamrock, UFC legend, World Wrestling Federation star. And first of all, before we talk about the upcoming show with you, Petey, a good show, took care of business rather quickly.
Yeah, you know, the Lions Den studies the stand-up game and the ground game, so we're able to win at both. You know, last time that Petey got in the ring and won, he knocked out Mark Coleman with a roundhouse kick, was real impressive. And then you see him out here with a submission on a knee bar. So we're a well-rounded group, and you won't see us just win in one-dimensional way.
It's interesting, Ken, you and I have had the opportunity to spend a lot of time together as we got prepared for this presentation of Ultimate Ken Shamrock, and I learned some things about you, and it surprised me that even you doubted yourself as a fighter at times in your life. Even you had fear inside the octagon at one time or another.
Absolutely. I think every fighter goes through it, and it's whether or not that fighter can bounce back and come back. As for instance, it happened to Dan Severn, he bounced back. It happened to Horace Gracie, he didn't bounce back. It's happened to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson hasn't been able to bounce back. It happens to every athlete in the world, and it's whether or not what that athlete does when he gets knocked down. Does he get back up and then go harder, or does he stay down?
You know, it's funny, we have talked before about the UFC, and if this event was created for anyone, it was created for this man, because the UFC is what Ken Shamrock is all about. We've said that statement, we believe that statement. Why do you think it's true?
Well, I was born into it. I mean, it seems like when I stepped in the octagon, it felt like home to me. It was like living in my own house, you know? I mean, I went through group home systems. I mean, I had to fight for food. I fought, when I was 10 years old, I was in juvenile hall. You know, I had to fight for space, you know? So for me, to step in the octagon is not as bad as what I had to go through at my childhood. So, but it's something I get to do, and I get to be a standout, and people appreciate what I do, and I'm somebody. I finally became somebody. I've made it in life, and that's why the UFC and the WWF and everything else that I've done prior to that to help me get to the level that I'm at right now is appreciated by myself, and I am handing it down to other fighters and giving them something back that they can use from me and take to them, and they really didn't have anything going on, and I gave them something to look forward to. A lot of these guys, I test them. They've got to be warriors at heart, or they don't make it. But when they do make it, they've got a family.
Well, you are a warrior, and the answer is yes. Perhaps Ken Shamrock could return to the octagon. He will be featured in our next presentation, Ultimate Ken Shamrock. Back to you, Jeff.
Well, thank you there, Mike, and certainly some great insight there to Ken Shamrock. And let's look at some of the insight that he does pass down to his fighters. In this case, great submission locks. And Pete Williams here able to knee bar Jason Godsey, get him to submit and put himself back on victory row, looking for a shot at potentially a heavyweight title down the road. Pete Williams, one of our young guns. Coming up next, a match, middleweight. It'll be Evan Tanner taking on Valery Ignatov. Ignatov out of Bulgaria. Evan Tanner out of Amarillo, Texas, now fighting out of Norman, Oklahoma.
Now we look forward to a great middleweight fight, one of many middleweight matchups on our impressive card tonight.
Middleweight Evan Tanner made his octagon debut last January at UFC 18. Taking on fellow rookie Daryl Golar, Tanner weathered the storm for the first 6 minutes, then brought the fight back to the stand-up position. He spent the next 2 minutes scoring with knees, strikes, and elbows, then caught Golar in a rear naked choke for the tap out at the 8-minute mark. He returns tonight to build upon his already impressive 17-1 mixed martial arts record and establish himself as a new force in the middleweight division.
Well, I'm ready to fight, you know, pretty much anyone now, I feel, but I'm only going to get better. And yeah, no matter how good you get, you can always get better.
I think I'm lucky. I'm lucky to be here because like the opportunity makes preparation, and I think that's great. I'm just excited about it, and I don't know how many people can understand my feelings, but I think it's touching my dreams.
Now, you always talk about storylines. Well, the storyline here is Bob Shamrock. Frank and Ken's father has started a new team called Shamrock 2000. And Valery Ignatov is part of Shamrock 2000. There is the new logo. It's a team for the new millennium. And Val, his nickname is one of the men who is going to lead this new fighting group into UFC. Bob Shamrock hopes fame and fortune, draped in full contact fighter gear and set to make his debut inside the octagon, a master of Sambo since age 19 and a former instructor in the Russian military. Ignatov is a wonderful competitor. His opponent, as Jeff mentioned, is out of Amarillo, Texas, now fighting in Norman, Oklahoma, 28 years old, 199 pounds. Evan Tanner made his UFC debut in New Orleans and won by a rear naked choke at 7:57 against wrestler Daryl Golar. An impressive debut and a quick return inside the octagon.
Strong grappling skills, powerful legs and knee kicks. Look for him to do that. He's self-taught, which is probably one of the hardest things to believe, and he was very impressive against Daryl Golar in the last UFC 18. And look for him to continue to improve and possibly, as a young gun, get a shot at middleweight title down the road.
Ignatov is a young gun at 25 years old, just 28-year-old. The freestyle fighting Evan Tanner at 6 foot and 199 pounds. This a middleweight matchup and a good one we would expect here in matchup number 2 for the official introductions inside to the octagon and Bruce Buffer.
This next bout is a middleweight bout, beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He is a Sambo expert making his octagon debut. He is a 5-time Bulgarian Sambo champion and a European Sambo Championship bronze medalist. Standing 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 191 pounds, originally from Sofia, Bulgaria, and fighting out of Concord, California, he is the X Factor, Valery Ignatov. And his opponent, standing to my right, he is a freestyle fighter with a mixed martial arts record of 17-1. He is the USWF heavyweight champion and veteran of UFC 18, standing 6 feet, weighing in at 199 pounds, fighting out of Amarillo, Texas. Welcome back, Evan Tanner. And our referee for the rest of the evening, beginning with this event, is Big John McCarthy.
Second UFC from Camarillo, California, Big John McCarthy.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on!
Fight number 2 of the night. This time the middleweights. Evan Tanner delivers a quick shot.
That was a nice jab, right hand. He came out as a southpaw, and perhaps Ignatov has never seen that. Sambo does not incorporate strikes, but saying he was in the military, they called it combat Sambo, and he was taught some, but it seems as though he competed so much at Sambo. Look for him to be the submission expert, and he loves heel hooks and knee bars. Tanner, if he keeps up this kind of a work here, it looks like he's trying to keep it a striking match. And perhaps he might be the stronger puncher of these two.
He certainly is taking the aggressive approach to the early moments of this fight.
Seems like Ignatov here settled down a little bit. Tanner just not being able to blindly get it. Oh, knocks him down. This is where it's dangerous now.
Yep, this is where we saw him punish Daryl Golar in New Orleans.
But also Ignatov here is very dangerous because he'll look for submissions from anywhere. He'll go inverted. This is all Sambo is submission with gi. And he's wrapping, looking to try to tie up an arm.
Back, Evan, come on. Tanner calls himself a freestyle fighter. His best move is an arm triangle, and he was undefeated in his Pancrase competition, so he understands what his opponent will try to do as far as submissions. He's got a good knowledge of that game also.
As well, but not quite at the level of competition that Ignatov has. Ignatov being in Sambo and over there in Europe, particularly with Russia right next door, he has had a lot of opportunity to go against those, and Sambo was a Russian sport. They introduced it in the 1980 Olympic Games. So look for Ignatov to really excel down here, and seems very fluent in the guard. I mean, really, Tanner has not had a chance to really throw many punches here, and Ignatov has really tying him up and frustrating him a bit. That was a good punch. Must have heard me talking, Mike.
Evan Tanner. And again he delivers a big blow. Oh my! Now Tanner works the midsection for a moment. And another one. Tanner able to deliver some forceful shots from inside Valerie's guard. And again!
I don't understand why Ignatov doesn't want to move here and just try not to play block the punch with my arm. But perhaps he's hoping that one of those punches come down. I don't know if I would go to submission against Ignatov.
He tried to go for the left leg, did Valerie Ignatov. And now a spin and a slide out.
Tanner knew how to counter that. Looked like he was going for a heel hook, and he was able to counter out. Full mount now by Tanner. Seems more powerful than Ignatov.
Yeah. And maybe that's why Valerie Ignatov can't close that gap, and Tanner's still able to strike. And again, with an elbow, and another, and one more. A combination of left and right, and it is over. Evan Tanner has won very impressively.
Taking too many blows, he's done.
Crowd appreciating that. I mean, it just came out of nowhere. It just seemed he was doing right hands, and then all of a sudden this right hand comes down, elbow, and then he just holding onto the wrist. That's a unique technique. Hold the wrist and go ahead and elbow from there. And once he got the elbows going, Big John McCarthy saw that Ignatov was not doing anything to defend himself and immediately stopped the fight. Nice right hand there, and Tanner comes back, regroups, and this is where he hangs onto the wrist, and this is cute. He brings his elbow down, and because he's hanging onto the wrist, really isn't able to, Ignatov isn't able to counter it. Loads up that right hand again, but this is where it goes to the stomach, and now they'll grab wrists. This is it right here. They're going to go ahead. He's going to try to blow him off, keeps him down, and this is where the right hand elbow comes in. And he's doing it by holding onto the wrist, and by doing that, Ignatov can't use the arm to block. Tanner with a nifty little skill there. Led to victory. McCarthy stopping the fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Big John McCarthy stops this bout at 2 minutes and 58 seconds for the winner, Evan Tanner. Let's have a hand for a very game opponent and Mr. Valerie Ignatov.
Good job, Val. That was good.
Certainly, Tanner displaying some great skill there. Great striking power from within the guard, and showed that he's not only good with the takedowns and such, but he actually was going for some great submission skills, but the striking did it. Let's go to Mike Goldberg with a victorious Evan Tanner.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. You came out extremely aggressively tonight, Evan. Why?
Wanted to try to take it to him, not let him use his ground skills. I wanted to try to take it to him standing up. I didn't get the job done as well as I would have liked, but still felt a little tight, but I wanted to be more aggressive this time.
You know, it's interesting. You had no fear striking in his guard or in the mount position, and knowing his Sambo background and knowing that you know about submissions from your fighting background, still you had no fear that he might tangle an arm.
Yeah, I was more worried about my ankles and my arms. Yeah, I'm not, don't really have much of a problem getting caught in the arm bars or anything. With Sambo, I heard he's really good with his leg locks and his ankle locks.
Interesting, too. I think there was a physical difference, and it seemed like you were able to overpower your opponent this evening, and it took a little bit longer last time to do that same thing to Daryl Golar.
Yeah, you got to give him credit. From what I understand, he lives an hour away from where he trains. He's got a full-time job. You got to give him a lot of credit. I weigh more. This is what I do full-time. All I do is train full-time, so I got a lot of respect for him for even getting out there. It's his first no-holds-barred fight.
You're impressive now, 2-0. Neither has gone the distance. How do you feel about yourself as an Ultimate Fighter at this point in your life, taking into consideration the impressive victory that you just scored?
I've got a lot of work to do, a lot of work. I still want to, I'd like to go for the middleweight belt, middleweight title in the UFC, but got a lot of work to do. I'm ready to go for it now, though.
Very humble Evan Tanner in victory, and so far in your UFC life, not in defeat. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Evan Tanner does it again. Congratulations to Evan Tanner. Impressive, and now his record in the UFC is 2-0, Jeff.
Say something right quick.
Thank you, Mike. Evan Tanner, certainly impressive here. Let's take a look at some of the replays that led to the end of that fight. First off, early on, they were feeling each other out, throwing some punches. But there, it was a stumbling by Ignatov after a Tanner kick led to the takedown. And then later on in the fight, once he had him down, there's the start of it. The elbow, holding onto the arms, that stunned him enough that he was able now to throw combinations. And after it was seen by Big John McCarthy, the referee, that Ignatov was not offering any defense, he immediately stepped in and stopped the fight. Great job by Evan Tanner. Look for him to continue his march towards the middleweight picture.
And impressive once again, and as I mentioned, very humble Evan Tanner, but you cannot discount the skills that he has displayed so far. And speaking of displaying skills, skills were displayed in our road to the heavyweight title the last time we were able to convene together in a UFC competition in New Orleans. And the man who is holding one of the roads to the title right now is Bas Rutten. How has your life changed in the last 4 to 6 weeks?
Oh, it was very good. I have a very good time and had a lot of interviews. Even a TV show, guys. I'm going to be a martial law as Nitro Man in 4 weeks, so don't miss it. It's going to be fun.
Oh, that's great, Bas. You had a real great fight with Tsuyoshi Kosaka. Some people felt you might have been losing going into that overtime, but they said, you said to your corner, tell me when there's a minute left. And with a minute left, you really poured it on with strikes, took it to Tsuyoshi Kosaka, eventually knocking him down in a ref stoppage. How did you see that fight going? Did you feel that's the way that you wanted it to end up?
Yes, I know I was in a very good conditioning, and I know that TK is always in a very good conditioning too, but I felt that his takedowns were getting less and less and less powerful. So then I thought, let's wait the 2 minutes in overtime, and then give me the sign of 1 minute, and then I will just unload, get all my power out, and see if I can take him down.
Is your true strength your kicking and your striking skills?
Yes, it is, but also grappling. But the people didn't know that I was 4 weeks before the fight. I had a presence of Daryl Golar. He threw me on my neck, so 4 weeks I didn't do any grappling. I almost couldn't do striking. So I was really comfortable on the ground. It doesn't mean that I would have armbarred in or something, you know, but I would have felt more comfortable on the ground.
Was it a debut for you in the UFC that was the way that you wanted to make your first statement? Because as Jeff said, TK, and we know he has the heart of a lion, TK took it to you for a while and took you to the limit almost.
Yeah, this was the best victory for me. If I would have taken TK out with a lucky strike or something maybe in the first minute, people would have said nothing, you know. This way, this is the best way, I think. TK showed a lot of heart. He's a really tough opponent, and I can tell because I hit him a few times really hard. Even from the ground, I felt in my knuckles. And he can take a lot of punishment, and I was really happy that I outlasted him because he's known for the best conditioning guy.
If you were to look at these two heavyweights that are about to fight, Maurice Smith and Kevin Randleman, who do you feel you would want to fight for the heavyweight title?
On one hand, I would say Maurice. I fought Maurice already 2 times, and I beat him, and that's why I think Maurice, you know, because then my chance may be better, but still it's a totally other game now what I have to play with Maurice than I had in Pancras. And on the other hand, I never fought a wrestler guy in my life, so that's maybe attractive to me too, you know. Let's try that.
Please don't practice with me, Bob.
I won't, man.
But certainly the one thing that I think that fight showed with Kosaka, and it's an intangible, and it really takes this kind of a situation, is heart. And this was your debut.
Yeah.
And you showed a lot of heart to be able to come back late in a fight and then go after an opponent and be able to take them out when you need to. And I think that more than anything, Bas, is going to put you over in the mixed martial arts world.
Yeah.
Final question, Bas. As you look ahead to having the opportunity to be the heavyweight champion of the UFC, you have had the honors of many great rewards, great competitions, great belts in your past. Would this be your most prized possession to be the king of the UFC?
Yes, because this is when I'm living in America right now, but if they're gonna find out, like now I beat a TK in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, like all the magazines in Holland were full of it. When I'm gonna get that belt, I'm the most proud man in my life. You know, it's unbelievable. I'm gonna be really happy.
You are a great competitor. We look forward to seeing you back inside the octagon next time we reconvene.
For sure.
Bas Rutten, a contender for the heavyweight title.
You're training, you're healthy, everything's going well?
Yes, I'm still have a little, they're working on my back still, but I will get very strong, trust me.
Good luck to you, Bas.
Okay, thank you very much.
And firing away pictures, one of the hardest working men in the mixed martial arts world is Joel Gold, the editor and publisher of Full Contact Fighter magazine. You can get the best insight on this great sport, not just our UFC, but all the mixed martial arts competition around the world from Joel Gold and his staff at Full Contact Fighter. Our next fight, a heavyweight matchup, the one that we just talked about, between Maurice Smith and Kevin Randleman. Maurice Smith, a veteran of UFC's past, and he did a couple of years ago pull off one of the greatest upsets of all time.
Maurice Smith is one of the most successful mixed martial artists in the world today. A former WKA and ISKA kickboxing champion, Smith is also the former Extreme Fighting heavyweight champion. In his UFC debut at UFC 14, Smith shocked the mixed martial arts world by defeating Mark the Hammer Coleman to win the UFC heavyweight championship. After his first title defense at UFC 15 against Tank Abbott, Smith took on Randy Couture at Ultimate Japan. Neither fighter dominated the bout. However, Couture was awarded the decision and title. A disappointed Smith fell out of the spotlight, choosing to concentrate on training his alliance stable of fighters for the UFC. The former champion returns tonight to the octagon after a layoff of 15 months to reassert himself as a force in the UFC's heavyweight division.
The Couture fight, my mistake was I didn't make enough movement. Right? I take chances because there's no way, technically, that quote-unquote a wrestler should submit me. So my mistake was the Couture fight. I didn't do enough movement or took enough chances. That's not going to happen anymore. The thing that happened to Couture will never happen again. I will never be kept on the ground in that position again.
How can I beat him? I think the question that we should ask is how can he beat me? Because unlike everybody else he's fought, when he fought Tank Abbott wasn't in the shape to fight him, and Tank Abbott even said to the world. When he fought Mark was, I guess you could say he might have underestimated Maurice Smith a little bit. I don't underestimate any man. I think that a 120-pound man can knock a 330-pound man out anytime. I've watched Maurice's tape once. I'm the type of person that if I see it once, I won't forget it.
Now a confident Kevin Randleman from Sandusky, Ohio. Here's the story, here's the background. Fremont, Ohio is the birthplace of Mark Coleman. And Kevin Randleman and Mark Coleman grew up 15 minutes away. Coleman took Randleman under his wing when Coleman was an assistant coach at Ohio State and Randleman was a freshman wrestler. Impressive physique, great vertical leap, and tons of confidence.
Good.
Well, that's nothing new to me. I got to watch him in the NCAAs when he wrestled for Ohio State. Two-time NCAA champion. He did that vertical leap back then. He is an impressive physical specimen, great athletic talent.
He calls himself a Renaissance fighter who suffered through the national competition with 5 fights working with a broken jaw. But I can tell you one thing for sure, the Iceman, Maurice Smith, fears no human being. As we taught you a moment ago and reminded you of the fact that he lost his belt in Ultimate Japan against Randy Couture, he has been off competing with the world's best in kickboxing since, and everyone has been hoping that Maurice Smith would enter the octagon one more time, and he'll do so for all of our pleasures tonight.
He's in great shape. Says he's been using the system that Kasaka used in preparation for Bas Rutten to give him the stamina to go ahead through this. Randleman in his career in the NCAAs usually had the energy to go. So I don't think conditioning is going to be a big problem in this fight, but Maurice Smith is the consummate striker, hands and feet.
It should be noted, though, that Maurice Smith is 37 years old. Kevin Randleman is 27 years old, but as Jeff pointed out, and it's true, Maurice is in great physical condition.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this next heavyweight bout will continue on May 7th, where they will meet Bas Rutten for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World. This event begins with the fighter standing to my left. He is a wrestler with a mixed martial arts record of 6-2. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 218 pounds. Fighting out of the Hammer House in Sandusky, Ohio, he is making his octagon debut. Please welcome Kevin Randleman. And his opponent, who is no stranger to the octagon, a kickboxer with a mixed martial arts record of 4-1, a former WKA and ISKA World Heavyweight Champion. Fighting out of Seattle, Washington, he stands 6 feet, 2 inches tall, weighing in at 220 pounds. Please welcome on his return to the octagon, the former UFC Heavyweight Champion of the World, Maurice Smith!
A proud champion indeed, a master striker who has learned grappling with his work with TK Tsuyoshi Kosaka and Frank Shamrock.
Here we go.
Now that's the foundation of the alliance. Smith brought the striking.
Come on.
Kosaka brought the guard, and it was Kosaka's guard that helped Maurice Smith defeat Coleman to become the heavyweight champion of the world.
Kevin Randleman told me today, Jeff, he is happy to take the first 3 or 4 minutes of this match on his feet and exchange blows with Maurice. He said, for every kick that Maurice delivers, I will punch him twice. We'll see if that develops. Quickness, he said. I'm going to be very elusive and try to avoid the master striker.
And it looks as though he's trying to bait Maurice Smith to come in so he can go ahead and go underneath him and maybe shoot a double leg and take him down. I can't imagine why he would want to go up and punch with Maurice Smith or kick with Maurice Smith. I'm not sure who he can train with that can help him with that. Mark Coleman never solved that riddle, and it would be hard for me to believe that Kevin Randleman did if he's training with Mark Coleman, but Randleman's a terrific athlete.
Boss, as you see the guys sizing each other up right now, Maurice, obviously, you would think on paper from the skills, wants this to stay up on the feet.
Yes, but Kevin is trained when Maurice gives a punch, Kevin is going to dive. And it's the other way around too, so it's going to be very difficult. When Kevin comes in, Maurice is going to strike, and the other way around. So just waiting and seeing and looking the distance, trying out.
Now he's keeping his hands very high as Kevin Randleman, and that is to protect himself from a high kick. He said he's not worried about taking him in the gut or in the legs. The kicks of Maurice, he doesn't want the high one to land, and I know you can respect that, boss.
Yes, that's for sure, because when he's going to kick to the body, Maurice is going to kick to the body, Kevin will take him down right away. So when he blocks his head, it's going to be enough.
Here we go. He tried to deliver the left-right combination. Maurice ducked away.
Maurice has to stay relaxed now, even when Kevin gives him some punches. Tries.
Maurice, impressively, pulling off the upset of Mark Coleman. And yes, it does matter to Kevin Randleman that, that he was defeated, Mark Coleman, his mentor, by Maurice Smith. But Kevin also wants to put himself on the map. John McCarthy telling the guys to explode. There's the first kick landed.
I don't care who you are. One of those kicks hits you in the legs, it's going to hurt. Boss, how do you measure the distance? What kind of distance do you think they're trying to find here? How do you measure it?
I always measure with my hands. And it's wrong to measure with your legs because then you're going to be too far away. You want to measure with your hands. Once you can hit him with your hands, you for sure can hit him with your legs.
Now it's interesting. Kevin said the closer they are, the more he is able to neutralize the legs. Is that accurate?
Yes, it's true. Because the legs are longer than the arms. So he's very right with that.
I don't know. Is it me, or did suddenly Randleman start to pursue Maurice Smith now?
There he delivers, as Maurice was able to get a leg on the left leg of Randleman again, and now they lock up for the first time. 3 minutes and 10 seconds in. 12-minute regulation, 3-minute overtime period once again if needed.
Smith said he felt that Randleman would try to drive him up against the fence, but this actually benefits Smith because he won't get knocked down with the fence behind him.
Maurice has demonstrated his ability to take punishment before as he wore down the ground and pounded Mark Coleman. He is a master striker. That is his strength.
Yes, no question about that.
Well, Randleman started to sprint there. He started pursuing really hard and throwing a lot of hands, but slowed down a little. Left there got into Maurice.
Maurice is always up. These very personable fighters who realize that this is their job tonight to try to advance and have a chance to fight the man sitting next to Jeff and I right now, Bas Rutten.
Actually, I think both Bas and Maurice have good, unique personalities that are open, outward, they talk, they're animated. I think all of it adds.
Don't forget we're very handsome.
Oh, excuse me, yes, of course you are.
That's an excellent point. Today is one of his son's birthdays, Kevin Randleman, and TK Tsuyoshi Kosaka, part of the alliance in the corner of Maurice Smith tonight. They are like brothers. That relationship has developed over time, and it is a wonderful one.
Bas, how? Oh, there's a takedown off the kick.
He set about 4 minutes. It happens at 4:36. Opportunity dictated that much, as much though as anything else, guys.
Yep. I was just going to ask Bas, how long would you go on your feet knowing if you feel you're the superior fighter fighting almost a neutral fight? I mean, would that start to frustrate you?
I don't know. I don't know. For me, it really doesn't matter. I feel really comfortable on feet and on the ground. Yeah, what I said last fight, you know, I was injured before the fight and I was a little bit less comfortable, but I think he's doing a good job. It's very hard for Kevin Randleman to knock out Maurice here because Maurice is used to a lot of punishment and he knows to go with the punches. So,
and there's a lot of energy here being burnt by Randleman trying to improve position. And Maurice is sneaking those little hands in there.
Yeah. Randleman said, "I won't gas."
Look
and Mark Coleman, we saw in his corner.
He's got a half guard. He's got like a TK guard, Maurice. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is something that he has worked very diligently on.
Oh, yeah.
You can turn him. I just amazed at his composure. He lays on his back. He's looking at you. His hands are rather, you know, they're not flexed or flinging all over. And the composure is amazing.
Maurice is very wise and very experienced. And he's going to get KO'd. It's going to be unbelievable.
Randleman, oh, a good left. A good left, and Maurice trying to close the gap, just hang on to an arm and not allow Kevin Randleman to be able to deliver blows from inside Maurice Smith's guard. Now it's a half guard.
And Maurice is comfortable there, but and I'm not sure how much offense he can really hit in terms of submission. I've never really seen him go for submissions from the guard, so it's really only striking here. And how's he going to get back to his feet where his real weapons are? Is the question Maurice needs to answer.
Come on, Kev, work, baby!
Randleman again, trying to dig in. And that one stunned Maurice just a bit. Kevin, the two-time national champion from Ohio State, who says, as a wrestler, his #1 attribute is his heart. But keep in mind, and this is a great storyline, Maurice Smith pulled off the most shocking upset in UFC history when he beat the Hammer Mark Coleman. And we saw a shot of Mark Coleman in the corner a moment ago. Randleman is carrying his own reputation and Mark Coleman's inside the octagon here tonight.
They try to roll him here. He stepped over the foot, got the arm trapped. I recognize that, Bas.
Yes, he's doing a good job. Maurice learned a lot the last year and last 2 years. It's amazing. He's doing a really good job.
Right there, stand up.
Maurice was able to neutralize things enough on the ground that now they're going to put them back in their corners momentarily and bring them together. Kevin is full of energy. He says he gets stronger as the match goes on.
He certainly looks like he's walking forward. No fatigue evident yet.
Sizing each other up one more time.
That's the same thing with Maurice. No fatigue evident also.
Whoa,
Well,
Randleman now starting to use his grappling skills and finding success.
Kevin Randleman, very, very strong young man. 5'10", 218 pounds. Strong like his mentor, Mark Coleman, who has continued to be very animated in the corner of Kevin Randleman. He is like a big brother, a mentor to this guy who made a freshman coming into Ohio State feel comfortable in his own skills as a wrestler. All Kevin Randleman did with Mark Coleman as the assistant coach was win 2 national championships.
Interesting. Very interesting what I just saw. Randleman let him up.
That's unbelievable. I would never expected this in my life.
Randleman must be feeling very, very confident right now.
Yeah, but it's a wrong thing to do. It's like what happened with, what's his name, in Brazil, the guy who fought here. He got knocked out by Vanderlei da Silva.
Right, yeah, you'd never want to let a guy up if you have the opportunity to keep him down and strike there.
Very good knee strike.
And down they go hard one more time.
3 takedowns now for Randleman. He does land in the guard, though.
When Vitor was impressive in that victory that you were speaking of in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Now Randleman and Maurice. Now Maurice has learned submissions.
Key lock, looking at a key lock, entangled arm.
Yep, and he's got his leg locked. So when he's going to get it out, he's going to get it. But, he has to keep...
Wow, just missed with the big right.
Good job.
And a little bit of power pulling that arm out of there.
But look at the size of his arms.
And
obviously, he's very strong with it. But Maurice is going for the second time. He has to hook his leg better. Yes. He has to bend the arm from Kevin. Not stretch it.
Under 2 minutes remains in regulation time, and then, if needed, a 3-minute overtime session. Maurice is actually catching his breath in this position.
Bots, obviously, you've seen a lot of submission and pancrase over in Japan.
I did. I really did. Oh, this is good. Try to stand up for Maurice right now. Kevin is holding his legs. Now is the time for Maurice to get up. Try to pull his legs out.
Back down. Maurice was jammed a bit into the fence, and he lost a bit of his leverage in trying to stand up there.
Kevin is actually doing a good job because he let Maurice standing up again so he could take him down again. So that's his 3rd takedown. It's all points, you know. It's a very smart game he's playing.
Remember the criteria, if we do reach a judge's decision, is aggressiveness, striking, and grappling. Final minute of the regulation 12-minute time period is one of these fighters will advance in our road to the heavyweight title and have the opportunity to enter the octagon with Bas Rutten.
Boss, that's why I asked you earlier, how long would you go if you feel you're a superior fighter? I thought Maurice might have pressed harder on his feet at the beginning of the fight to force Randleman into second options, and it now seems as though Randleman is forcing Maurice with letting him up and doing things he isn't expecting.
Yes.
And he's finding some success, and because he doesn't feel threatened on his feet, he's not afraid to go there. I thought maybe he needed to establish that early.
He has a very good game plan. It's a very good game what he's playing right now. Maurice is normally the person who does that. You know, he got always good game plans, like PK did with me.
Yep.
He always finds good ways, neutralize somebody's arm, hit him suddenly with another arm. And now Randleman is doing it to him.
Time period of regulation has come to a close. Randleman snaps up to his feet. Mark Coleman in the corner telling his young fighter, Kevin Randleman, you've got this fight. Just keep doing the things that you are doing. 1 minute rest period now here for both fighters.
Well, let's look at some of the action there in regulation time.
Stay out of his fucking range. Stay out of his fucking range and take him down one more time and you won this damn fight. Please.
So you hear Mark Coleman shouting, take him down one more time, you're going to win the F fight.
There was a nice kick by Maurice Smith there, but Randleman grinned at him after that. And then another kick, Randleman turned into a takedown.
It's a very good lesson for me. Don't give a low kick to Randleman.
Now you watch this as a fan and as a very, very interested viewer. Another takedown by Randleman there.
Yes. It seemed odd. It looked like Smith attacked his leg and he just shrugged it off and was able to turn it into a takedown.
Ooh, that was a nice right hand by Maurice. People seeing it, huh? Oh.
Now here we go as they set up the fighters.
And Randleman let him up, and that was a very strange thing. We all questioned that, but it seems effective because he turns it into a takedown. Strange tactics, but they're very effective for Kevin Randleman, and right now I think it's Maurice Smith who needs to press the fight. Little mouse under Maurice Smith's left eye.
Mo taking the center of the ring, and now he delivers the kick, and he's down again. Randleman going for a flurry. Stay busy is the shout from the corner from Mark Coleman to Kevin Randleman. He wants to make sure he continues to get points on the aggressiveness scale.
If you were Maurice Smith, boss, what would you do here?
Oh man, I would do the same thing, neutralize the power of his arms, but maybe try it. He's got 2 minutes left. Maybe it's better to get him in the full guard and then start striking, you know, start to knock him out, because this fight's not going to get up anymore, maybe after 1 minute.
That's what I'm thinking too. It may not get back up to the feet here. Randleman's able to stay very active.
So let him go, so when the man comes up, he can get some distance and try to strike. The only way for Maurice right now is to win by submission of
If Randleman does this though, where he's just hanging onto an arm and trying to keep him down, look for Big John McCarthy to probably stand the action up.
That's it.
And that's why Mark Coleman was saying stay busy, because he knows that he's ahead on points right now, Kevin Randleman. At least he assumes that to be true.
Smith shifting to try to take those punches away, doing a nice job.
He's got 1 minute and 15 seconds left. He has to do something right now.
Going back to that entangled arm, but Randleman will have none of it. Randleman's going to let him up.
Yeah, and the reaction of Coleman is amazement. What are you doing? Letting him back up. Coleman is amazed that Randleman just did this.
Kevin Randleman is pinning Smith towards the fence. He's actually going after Smith now in the standing position.
That's the wrong thing to do, because Maurice got a great right cross.
Maurice has to avoid. Randleman has a lot of confidence in his stand-up skills. He's got Maurice tied up. Maurice has to land some strikes.
If I were him, I'd pull that down like a front headlock in wrestling like he was taught. Just keep him on the ground, and there it is. In a very game, Kevin Randleman, full of energy, showing no sign of fatigue, showing no respect, putting Smith back on his feet when he didn't have to.
He continues to get points on the aggressiveness scale.
If you were Maurice Smith, boss, what would you do here?
Oh man, I would do the same thing, neutralize the power of his arms, but maybe try it. He's got 2 minutes left. Maybe it's better to get him in the full guard and then start striking, you know, start to knock him out, because this fight's not going to get up anymore, maybe after 1 minute.
That's what I'm thinking too. It may not get back up to the feet here. Randleman's able to stay very active.
So let him go, so when the man comes up, he can get some distance and try to strike. The only way for Maurice right now is to win by submission of
If Randleman does this though, where he's just hanging onto an arm and trying to keep him down, look for Big John McCarthy to probably stand the action up.
That's it.
And that's why Mark Coleman was saying stay busy, because he knows that he's ahead on points right now, Kevin Randleman. At least he assumes that to be true.
Smith shifting to try to take those punches away, doing a nice job.
He's got 1 minute and 15 seconds left. He has to do something right now.
Going back to that entangled arm, but Randleman will have none of it. Randleman's going to let him up.
Yeah, and the reaction of Coleman is amazement. What are you doing? Letting him back up. Coleman is amazed that Randleman just did this.
Kevin Randleman is pinning Smith towards the fence. He's actually going after Smith now in the standing position.
That's the wrong thing to do, because Maurice got a great right cross.
Maurice has to avoid. Randleman has a lot of confidence in his stand-up skills. He's got Maurice tied up. Maurice has to land some strikes.
If I were him, I'd pull that down like a front headlock in wrestling like he was taught. Just keep him on the ground, and there it is. In a very game, Kevin Randleman, full of energy, showing no sign of fatigue, showing no respect, putting Smith back on his feet when he didn't have to.
Unbelievable.
Is in control of this fight. Not a lot of damage, very calculated, but it based around grappling skills.
A lot like the loss to Randy Couture for Maurice Smith.
Yes, but this Kevin Randleman is working. Randy Couture is not working.
Excellent point. Randleman finishes with the flurry.
He won the fight.
Impressive debut for the young gun, Kevin Randleman. And he is confident that he will be rewarded with a decision in his UFC debut and redemption against Maurice Smith.
So I guess this is going to be the next one. I'm going to fight.
Well, Bas, how do you assess Randleman? What are you going to do? Let's first take a look at some of this.
I can also make 3,000 punches.
And there, Maurice Smith going to his bread and butter leg kicks, but Randleman turning the leg in and then immediately seizing Smith and taking him down.
Yeah, I think Maurice got tired. He looks tired. He looks more tired than he ever was.
He was away from the octagon, and though his guard was effective at the end, Randleman, with lots of energy, was able to get some strikes in there. And Kevin Randleman, one of our young guns, looking good, and has put himself on the road to the heavyweight title. Let's go to Bruce Buffer with the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision from the judges for the winner. And on his way in May to the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World, Kevin Randleman. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big hand of applause for a fan favorite, Mr. Maurice Smith.
You gotta love it. You just gotta love it. Kevin Randleman came in here. He was a confident warrior.
And he's giving the Tarzan scream.
Well, I'll tell you what, he backed up his words with action. He did really, really well right there, showing everyone that not only is he a great grappler, able to take people down, Bas, but got pretty effective with the striking at the end, mainly because of Maurice's fatigue. Let's go to Mike Goldberg with Kevin Randleman.
Well, Kevin, in visiting with you over the last 12 hours or so, you never lacked any confidence. Did you feel good about your UFC debut?
Yes, I did. There's a few people I'd like to thank real quick.
Okay.
One is the Lord. Without him, nothing can happen. Two, the greatest man on the fucking planet right there, Mark the Hammer Coleman. I love him. And without him, this would not be possible. I'd like to thank Chris Corso in the Red Zone for having for support me, help me make the training, very easy. Jay Taniguchi and his security agency. Without him, this wouldn't be possible either. Full Contact. My son, Calvin Randleman.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, baby. This one's for you.
Well done, Kevin. I'll tell you the one thing that was interesting, and you told me you might do it earlier today, was your desire to strike with one of the best strikers in the world. And your favorite man in the world, Mark Coleman, went crazy when you let Maurice Smith back on his feet in overtime.
Well, like I said to you earlier at lunch, I'm in great shape. I told you I could go 30 minutes with him, and the kicks, they don't mean shit. You can kick me 5 more times, and it don't hurt. We're wrestlers. Our legs are conditioned to take those punishment. So remember one thing. Just because we're wrestlers and we can't block that kick doesn't mean that when you kick it, you're not going to pay. And you pay. I'm telling you right now, I'm quick, I'm fast, and I'm in shape. Anybody that fights me better train 2 damn months in advance. I train 30 damn days for this. When I fight Bas Rutten, I got 2 months.
Okay. Let's hear from Bas Rutten. Bas Rutten is octagon side right now. Boss, what's your reply to that?
Oh, my reply is that I got the 2 months and I will train very, very hard. Trust me. He can throw 3,000 punches. How you doing, man? And I'm going to throw 3,000 punches too.
Bas Rutten just said, and you can't hear him, Kevin, he said he's going to throw 3,000 punches also.
I know he will. He's a great competitor, world's greatest martial artist. God bless you and hope nothing happens along the way in training. And I guarantee, for the public, the world, you better get to a cable place where you can find this fight, because Bas Rutten and I guarantee we're going to battle.
Okay, we will.
Tyson won't have shit on us.
And it's the world's greatest. It's the world's greatest looking martial artist.
Super Bowl, isn't it?
That's right.
Congratulations, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Impressive debut for Kevin Randleman.
God bless you, and we're coming back.
Confident young man, and he hopes to be a future UFC champion, guys. I'll tell you what, he is just boiling over with enthusiasm.
Boss, a lot of energy going on over there during that interview. Kevin very, very excited. Obviously his debut here at the UFC being successful, adding that adrenaline rush, but his performance against Maurice Smith debuting, very effective.
Very effective, but let's not forget he had like 8 fights already, no holds barred, and he's doing really good. In the other fights he did really good too. He's an excellent athlete, great conditioned. It's going to be a tough one for me. But
as you look at him, certainly one has to ask, how would you approach the fight? Don't give us any details, but what is it that you see that you need to work on maybe that's going to be effective against Randleman?
No,
do you believe that his legs are tough enough to take your kicks?
One thing for sure, I'm not going to kick his legs because he's inviting me for it. And that's his game, you know. I'm not going to kick it because he's going to take me down. So I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'm going to punch only. Maybe I'm going to wrestle. I'm a quick learner, and maybe when I do 2 months of good grappling and wrestling, I can do a lot of resistance and a lot of punishment. But he's a great athlete. We have to see. Come on, this is Maurice Smith he just fought. So.
Well, he certainly was effective. Certainly effective in that. Let's go back to Mike Goldberg.
Well, guys, you know, win or lose, he will always be a champion in all of our minds. Maurice Smith, a classy move to stick around and visit with us, even in defeat. And you just said a moment ago, hey, it happens.
It happens. Part of the game. He's a very strong kid. He did his homework. He moved more than I thought he was going to move. I was surprised that he moved so much. And he's strong. He's very strong. The thing is, his key thing was that he's what I call a passive aggressor. You know, he sits back, and fires. Let you relax, and then he fires. He fought a smart fight and his understanding, but he kept moving and moving. That was good on his part.
Is that why you were unable to fire the kicks that we've seen you fire in the past in the first 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah, just because he moved, and if I kick, he could try to take a shot, maybe time me and push me to the ground, so I had to be kind of careful. He fought a good fight, man. He's a strong kid. He's young. Like I said, young gun versus the old #1. You know, he did good. I take nothing from him. It's more or less I just couldn't find something to get him. He's just a strong kid.
It was unfortunate for you in your mind and in your training that you weren't able to demonstrate the skills on the feet that you have demonstrated in the past, because once he got you down, it was somewhat like your fight in your loss to Randy Couture. You couldn't bring it back up to where you wanted to try to be effective.
No, I couldn't bring it up, but like I said, the thing is he wasn't going to hold me down the same way Couture held me down. Right. But he held me down in a way that he could just, like I said, he's a passive aggressor. He'll wait, law, then fire. And that's how I got 2 shots there. Other than that, you know, it's okay. I mean, I don't have nothing bad to say about my performance too much. No one has nothing bad to say about his performance. I just got to get rid of his eye here.
More than anything else, you're all about class. Thanks, Maurice.
Thank you, Mike.
Maurice Smith back with us again, and a great champion he will always be, but defeated tonight impressively by young Kevin Randleman.
Well, here, let's take a look at the replays of the end of the fight. Randleman, after his 3rd takedown, able to get him down, and now starts to open up on Smith and actually gets out of the guard and goes after him, and that's the end of the time limit. He put an exclamation mark on that performance. Another angle of it here, staying back in the guard, staying long like this, and now he's coming up. He's going to move up and start to strike, and at this point, I don't know if Maurice Smith realizes he's going to lose. He just covers up, but Randleman, tasting victory, goes after him. And boy, I'll tell you, Bas Rutten facing a real physical specimen here in Kevin Randleman.
Kevin Randleman and Bas Rutten will now meet for the heavyweight championship of the UFC May 7th. Randleman, Rutten, and as was just advertised, this is going to be a matchup that we are going to talk about 7 days a week, 24 hours a day for the next 2 months. And Bas is sitting next to us still. You are absolutely gassed for this.
I am. And I'm going to train very, very hard for it. Everything he did, I'm going to do double.
We have heard that before. Bas Rutten, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
Bas, always a pleasure. Great job here in the booth. We enjoyed your insight. Good luck with your training.
Thank you very much, Mike, and thank you very much, Jeff.
You got it, Bas and Kevin Randleman. And man, oh man, some of the new faces. The talent pool is so deep, and John Peretti does a great job finding all of it. And that will be a wonderful fight coming up in May. Our next fight on the card tonight, a young man who debuted a couple of fights ago, Jeremy Horn, and almost shocked the world in taking Frank Shamrock very deep into the fight against Chuck Liddell.
Are you ready? Let's get it on!
UFC fans first met jiu-jitsu expert Jeremy Horn when he took on middleweight champion Frank Shamrock for the title at UFC Night of Champions. Although a heavy underdog, Horn dominated for the entire regulation period. It wasn't until the first overtime when an opportunistic Shamrock took advantage of a Horn error to seize the victory. His second appearance was not so memorable, taking a loss at the hands of Ebenezer Braga at Ultimate Brazil. Tonight, he'll try to get back on track.
You make one mistake and it's over, which unfortunately I did both times. With Frank, I was winning clearly and made a mistake when, in the takedown, and he got me. Same thing with Braga. That one was still half and half, I'd say, but he got up and I tried to take him back down. I was a little too aggressive and he got a hold of me. So.
Middleweight Chuck Liddell made his octagon debut in the alternate bracket of UFC 17, Redemption, taking on boxer Noah Hernandez. This kickboxing and Kenpo expert dominated the fight throughout the regulation period, scoring with punches and kicks en route to a victory via decision. He enters the main draw tonight, eager to make a name for himself in the UFC.
I've been training hard, but I train the same way as I did for Brazil and then the same way I did for the last fight. I think I'm in better shape than the last two fights. I was in pretty good shape in Brazil, and I'm in better shape than that now, so I feel good about it.
Chuck Liddell, the kickboxer, 29 years old. If you want to talk about striking skills, his are similar to Maurice Smith. Perhaps not as world-class striking skills as Maurice Smith's, but still very, very lethal. He has in the past compared his fighting strategy to Big Mo, and he knows that in Jeremy Horn he faces a good ground fighter who has good experience.
Well, they both come from the same discipline, of kickboxing, and so Liddell is smart to look at Maurice Smith and model a little bit of his style after him, but it's what is uniquely your own that is going to separate you from the others in the octagon. And we are continuing to learn exactly what Chuck Liddell brings to the UFC.
Jeremy Horn, I remember he told us something a couple of fights ago. He said, you know what, I've reached about 10% of my potential. Well, I'll tell you what, Jeremy Horn, in working with his crew, has done a great job to get bigger, and he hopes better inside the octagon. I mean, he trains with one of the best in the world in Pat Miletich, and they are turning him into a full contact fighter. He is very, very confident coming into this, his third UFC, but he has yet to earn a victory inside the octagon walls.
Now, we saw him against Frank Shamrock, and he took Shamrock to the limit using great position. It was basically a jiu-jitsu match, but losing in overtime on one mistake. Frank capitalized on it and took it to him. Frank, of course, our reigning middleweight champion.
29-year-old Chuck Liddell, 6'2", 199, and Jeremy Horn is also very big at 6'1", and Liddell had to really work to get under the 200 pounds yesterday, but he is impressively built and ready for this contest. For the official introductions, here's the veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, our fourth bout of the evening is a middleweight bout, beginning with the fighter that's standing to my left. He is a kickboxer with a mixed martial arts record of 2-0 and a kickboxing record of 20-2. He is a veteran of UFC 17 and a former IKF heavyweight champion. Standing 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing 199 pounds, fighting out of Santa Barbara, California, please welcome Chuck Liddell. And his opponent, standing to my right, a freestyle jiu-jitsu fighter with a mixed martial arts record of 22, 4-4. He is a veteran of UFC, Night of Champions, and Ultimate Brazil. Standing 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 199 pounds, coming to us and fighting out of Omaha, Nebraska, please welcome Jeremy Horn.
His takedowns, so this fight could get to the ground. He benefits, of course, from the background of Pat Miletich.
Here we go. Are you ready?
Are you ready? Let's get it on! Here we go. John McCarthy has started this fight, this middleweight matchup between Jeremy Horn and Chuck Liddell.
And it's Horn who comes out swinging legs.
Jeremy Horn has a good base with his freestyle jiu-jitsu, but he becomes more well-rounded every day he works out with Pat Miletich and the guys.
Well, he's got the jiu-jitsu background, so he needs some striking. Nice tall kick there. Nearly got Liddell, but it also helped him set up a shoot. He got into the body of Liddell now. Horn trying to get him down to the ground. That would be his environment. He likes jiu-jitsu, so he wants to work on the ground. Liddell, kickboxing, wants to keep it on his feet.
Liddell went for some high kicks himself in his matchup against Noe Hernandez when he debuted as an alternate fighter at UFC 17 and won that decision. So Liddell is 1-0 and Horn is 0-2, losing to Ebenezer Fontes Braga, and as we mentioned before, Frank Shamrock, the reigning middleweight.
Watch for kicks. Yeah, there's a knee. Liddell here doing a nice job using wrestling. This is called the sprawl, keeping a front headlock on, forcing Horn to keep his head down, but there Horn doing what he needed to do. Get to his back so he could apply the guard, but again, Liddell gets him in this front headlock position. Surprised he's not kneeing. There's a knee.
Miletich in his corner.
He's got his arm tied up too. He's got a free shot at kneeing him here. And he never really got to it.
Liddell striking the top side of the head of Jeremy Horn. Jeremy has those arms tight around the midsection though of Chuck Liddell.
Nice knee by Horn in response there.
Liddell was holding the right leg down and Jeremy fired a knee with the left.
Looking for, he definitely wants to bring Liddell down and he'll do anything to do it. And here he just grabbed on, jumped up and tried to pull him on in and it worked. Great tactic. Certainly in the world of mixed martial arts, you need to be creative like this and bring out what you personally can go ahead and create. Nice job by Horn there.
Left himself vulnerable for a second to a big bomb, but as you said, remained very patient, and that's from the jiu-jitsu background that he could bring Liddell, if you will, into his world.
Effective, yes, that's exactly what I think he did. He wanted it to go to the ground, and I'll tell you, Chuck Liddell is tough on his feet. He had those opportunities in that front headlock position to launch some knees, but now it's a different game here down on the ground. He is in Horn's turf now. And Horn, you can see him here, he's trying to find a way to roll Liddell. He might scoot out to the side here, try to take Liddell's back.
Jeremy Horn started his martial arts training at age 13, and he has been in a lot of mixed martial arts competitions since his debut in the octagon against Frank Shamrock. 22-4-4 the record now in mixed martial arts, but as I said, yet to score a victory inside the octagon.
Half guard now by Liddell. He almost passed the guard, but Horn able to keep the half guard in, but this still presents a better angle for Liddell to go ahead and throw some strikes.
Liddell told us he's in a lot better shape for this fight, and he feels better overall. He has worked a lot on his submissions in wrestling, and that was where his game, as far as ultimate fighting, may have lacked.
I think that's true too, Mike. You're right. I think this position right here, though, if I were Liddell, I would almost sit and wait. If you can't effectively strike from that guard, you can't escape the guard, why not just hang there and wait for it to come back up to the feet? McCarthy will start you up, and then you're back in your domain again. Horn is not able to really improve his position. Chuck Liddell doing an effective job on top from being rolled, reversed, or submitted. Oh, wait a minute, I might have spoken too soon. Heel hook by Liddell, against Liddell. And he's able to counter out Horn with oh, he's still in it.
He had a very, very large grimace on his face, and Liddell appears to be in a bit of trouble, in a precarious situation. You hear Miletich in the corner saying, hook it, hook it, hook it. Liddell trying to roll, Jeff. What does he try to do here?
By rolling with the pressure never really gets a chance to sink in because you keep taking it away before he can get set, but now he's working on his ankle.
Key-lock his foot, Chuck! Key-lock his foot!
You hear the corner saying key-lock his foot the other way. And this is where Chuck is learning submissions under fire, as both are looking to work the ankles and legs respectively.
Neither one can get great leverage. There again now, position for Horn to attack that ankle again. There, Lydell was able to clear the leg. Now he can go ahead and straighten himself out.
Good action. And for people who may not understand this true game, I mean, that was some serious chess being played there for the last 1 minute and 5 seconds.
Great analogy, Mike. That's exactly what it was. To some people, it looks like you just grab and leg, but actually there was some submission locks being traded and some great counters by going with the pressure to take the pressure off. If you roll through too quickly, and that's exactly what Lydell did to try to escape Horn.
Let's move it! Let go of the fence!
Chuck Lydell has had experience in this type of fight in Brazil. He beat one of the finest Brazilian fighters in Pele at IVC 6. He has a 5-month-old boy, Cade, at home. He was inspired in martial arts at age 12 after watching demos after Kung Fu Theater.
Jeez. But hey, we all find our inspiration from different places.
His parents always tell Chuck, you've got a degree in accounting. Why don't you get a real job? Well, to Chuck, this is his real job for the hours in which he trains, in which he enters the octagon.
This might get stood up by Big John McCarthy because, well, if Horn is able to get Lydell to his side, then McCarthy may let it go. But as long as Lydell is sitting back against the fence and has Horn in a position where he can't improve position,
let's do something from there. Come on.
You can go ahead and stand him.
It's amazing how small a space two fighters can end up taking to compete in an octagon, which is 750 square feet, 32 feet across.
You can hear people coaching Chuck Lydell go for that key lock, so he immediately reaches over and tries to hook up the arm of Jeremy Horn. But Horn very adept at submissions with his background, but not very active on top here. Still caught in a half guard, unable to pass it.
Get your left leg inside.
Lydell sinking in that arm a little deeper now. Might be close to locking his hands. Nope.
There you go, there you go.
Said his appearance in Brazil was disappointing to say the least when he was choked out, a guillotine choke by Ebenezer Fontes Braga at 328. His debut in a night of champions.
Well, Jeremy Horn with the half guard here on top, but unable to mount any kind of offense. He's just positioning between the legs. Looks like he's digging now, trying to find something in the legs. There he passes. But right back to the half guard again by Lydell.
We were here in October of 1997, collision course, the night Maurice Smith beat Tank Abbott to defend his title. Maurice has been defeated by Kevin Randleman, and that will be a heavyweight matchup of the future. Randleman taking on Boss Root. Here we had middleweights all trying to work their way up the ladder, perhaps to meet Frank Shamrock in the future.
Boy, Horn there able to get his legs real wide, but unable to sink them. Once you get him up in the air, you can be pushed to the side. It looked as though he may get to the mount, but because his hips were so high up, he was able to be pushed off. But Horn trying some creative ways to try to pass the guard, going vertical.
Now the corner saying stand him up, and of course Jeremy wants to stay busy because he's happy where the fight is taking place right now.
Not much offense, and there it is, finally a stand-up.
9 minutes, 9 seconds into our regulation time period of 12 minutes. And then a 3-minute overtime, as we mentioned earlier, if needed.
You cannot grab the fence, all right? I've warned you too many times. Keep your hand off of it.
McCarthy always keeps the fighters abreast of the situation, telling them they have 2 minutes left in regulation time. Trying to size up. A kick to the side by the kickboxer, Chuck Lydell. That time he lifts the legs of Jeremy Horn.
A lot of one-blow shots here, no combinations yet. Looks like they close the distance, throw one, and then they back out.
They are now about 10 minutes deep into this thing, Jeff. I mean, fatigue, although all our competitors are in great condition, is it a factor?
Yes, it is. And on the ground, when you're moving like that, and you don't have a lot of room to move. It's a lot of, almost like an isometric exercise where you're putting out a lot of power, but you don't have a lot of room to get range of motion, so your arms and everything can't stiffen up. I was surprised that Liddell didn't try to punch more here when he got back to his feet. He threw the kick, and that invited Mr. Horn to come back in. And Mr. Horn taking full advantage of that, moving right in. He'll do anything he can here to bring it down to the ground.
And as I mentioned, maybe that's why Liddell fatigue a factor, didn't feel like he was fresh and peppy to be able to deliver the strikes without putting himself in a vulnerable position.
Close fight here. Horn with a couple of takedowns, Liddell with some good situations where he got some good strikes in and controlled some ground action with the front headlock position.
Come on, guys, don't slow it off. Let's go.
Interesting fight.
Keep working.
Jeremy has really worked on trying to become more aggressive. But still, as a jiu-jitsu fighter, he's unaccustomed to being on the top.
Pass.
And he has been on the top a lot today.
Trying to pass on that side. Again, it's interesting, he grabs tight to the hips and he lets his hips almost go like he's going to go into a headstand, and he's trying to flop him over either leg. Liddell doing a good job of blocking it, keeping one leg in and staying out the guard.
And this game is taking place again in Jeremy Horn's world. 30 seconds remaining in regulation.
Come on, work it out, guys.
Horn, however, just blocking. Oh boy, that could be a choke.
Grab your own head is what his corner's now saying. Chuck Liddell is to try to neutralize this attempted choke.
Side choke going here. Key here is to relax and turn to the elbow. Keep some space.
And size and time were on the side right there of Chuck Liddell, because he knew that he had to withstand the pressure of that attempted choke.
And that's
for
it.
Only a little while. Nope, it's over.
Looks as though John's going to stop it here.
Yep, and a great show of class and sportsmanship by Jeremy Horn. As he tried and tried, did Chuck Liddell not to tap and work his way into an overtime, but time did run out on Chuck Liddell.
Right, time ran out. Chuck Liddell, when he tried to get up, really couldn't get up. He was suffering the effects of that choke. And it was enough when he tried to get up that Big John McCarthy felt that he couldn't continue, and he did stop the fight, but it was a game fight here between the two of them. Jeremy Horn applying that side lock.
He went out just as the belly went. Just saw him here.
And even though he wasn't able to force the submission, Liddell's suffered from the hold, and Big John McCarthy stopped the fight. We're looking at the end of the fight there. That was the side choke. And even though Liddell did not tap, John McCarthy down there to break it up, and Liddell having problems moving here. Better look at it here. You can see how it's locked into place. And Liddell's game, he continues to move, but he's frozen there, and the pressure keeps building up and building up and building up, and he survived the time limit, but he did not survive the remnants of that hold. And when time did run out, McCarthy broke it. Chuck Liddell was unable to continue. Let's go to Bruce Buffer with the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of 12 minutes, we have a winner by submission, Mr. Jeremy Horn. And let's do have a big hand of applause for Mr. Chuck Liddell.
An awful good fight there. It was very, very close, but the submission specialist, Jeremy Horn, able to lock up that side choke to finish off. But early on in the fight, Liddell, known as the striker, nearly got caught with a beautiful kick by Jeremy Horn. And what was even better is Horn was able to come back and shoot a double leg off of that kick. An interesting combination of attack. But eventually it would be Jeremy Horn with his ground game that would catch that would catch Chuck Liddell and earn himself a victory. Let's go to Mike Goldberg with our victor.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. You were able to bring him into your world, as you say, with your strong jiu-jitsu background, Jeremy.
Yeah, it was tough getting him there, but I got him.
Yeah. What does this mean to you, this victory? It's your first in the UFC.
Hopefully, it's the end of my run of bad luck in the UFC. I have 4 losses and 2 of them were here, so hopefully that'll be the last of them.
You know, Jeremy, you said to me earlier, you said you were very disappointed in your performance in Brazil. What did you do in training perhaps differently since that disappointment to come out so strong tonight?
I did a lot of boxing, a lot of kickboxing. Got kicked around a lot so that I could be more comfortable on my feet, which was my big flaw. I'm too anxious to take people down, and I make mistakes a lot in doing so. So I figured if I was a little more comfortable on my feet, it would work better for my takedowns.
You've worked hard in the weight room. You've put on an incredible physique. You have improved your strength. In fact, Pat Miletich was teasing you the other night at the fighters meeting saying, yeah, we're going to turn this young man into a fighter.
Someday. I think that was a little bit of a problem tonight. Spent too much time in the gym, not enough time on the mat. I got a little gassed. Doesn't usually happen, but it won't happen again.
You know, Jeremy, it's very interesting. You told us a couple of fights ago that you feel like you've reached at top 20% of your fighting potential. Now this is a few months and a couple of fights later. At what ranking percentage of your potential are you at now?
I don't know, not much more past that. I still got a long way to go.
Impressive nonetheless.
Thank you.
Jeremy Horn again gets the win, his first win inside the octagon, and he does it with the choke of his opponent. He learned a lot from his boss, Pat Miletich. Jeff?
Thanks, Mike. Well, you saw it there. Chuck Liddell got caught in this chokehold. I'm told it's a reverse rear naked chokehold. It is not quite a side choke because you need to be to the side. But there you could see the effects of the chokehold on Chuck Liddell. And referee Big John McCarthy told me he felt that Liddell was choked out just at the buzzer. So he actually was intervening in the fight. Ref stoppage will be the official call. There's your victor, Big John McCarthy, raising the arm of Jeremy Horn. And once again, we have seen the fortitude that this young man has coming back from a loss where he was choked out in Brazil, Ultimate Brazil, come back and win here at UFC 19.
Coming up next, the fight that we talked about earlier tonight, a rematch of Tito Ortiz and Guy Mezger. These two men met in an earlier UFC, and Guy was victorious. Tito wants revenge now, and then there's the sidebar that Tito Ortiz in New Orleans in UFC 18 defeated one of Guy Mezger's Lions Den teammates in Jerry Bolander. Remember the last time we met too, we talked about the Ultimate Contest. It has continued to work its way. We thank everyone who got involved in the Ultimate Contest.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And here is Bruce Buffer with the drawing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are Octagon side with our beautiful UFC. Congratulations, if you're watching, Mr. Travis Mulroy from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Travis Mulroy, you will be flown out with a guest to the next UFC for 2 Octagon side tickets. And you will see the action firsthand. So let's have a big hand for Travis Mulroy and the UFC girls. We'll see you, Travis, Octagon side, May 7th.
You and I talked about the Ultimate Contest before, and what makes this event so special are the fans who are so passionate about the greatest mixed martial artists being able to compete in our octagon.
Without the fans, this show would not exist, and certainly in our battle for choice of freedom, or I should say freedom of choice, in terms of having the ability for the UFC to reach everyone, without your help, without your passionate support, your letter writing and support of the UFC, it would not be possible. And we want to reward that lucky fan the honor of coming to the road to the heavyweight championship, the culmination with the heavyweight title fight coming up in May. And it was a cheesehead, a friend of mine from somewhere in Wisconsin, that is going to go ahead and come down and watch that brawl. And we can't do it without you. And, you know, I mentioned Gino from Canada and the pro martial arts movement in North America, Stan Lee down in Florida, same thing. These kinds of people help bring it back to Canada. They're going to help bring it back to all points in the United States. We want to say thank you to those two and to everyone who has written letters and shown support for this show.
Another heavyweight fight is on the card, and this one will take place between Andre Roberts, the Chief, and Gary Goodridge, a veteran of UFC past. Both strong, big fighters. UFC fans first met Gary Big Daddy Goodridge at UFC's 8 David versus Goliath tournament. This 250-pounder immediately raised eyebrows with a devastating victory over Paul Herrera, and then advanced to the finals with a win over a young Jerry Bolander. He would lose in the finals to Big Daddy Don Fry, but Big Daddy Gary Goodridge was able to leave his mark. He is a veteran of many UFCs. He came back to take part in UFC's 9 and 10 and Ultimate 96, where he lost a hard-fought rematch with Don Fry. Tonight, Gary Goodridge returns after a 2-year absence.
My opponent, from what I gather in the last 5 minutes, he's a wrestler as well as a striker. You know, he uses his weight to his advantage. So it's pretty well the same approach that I would take towards Tank. But you know, he's got another 140 pounds. So it remains to be seen what will happen.
They call him the Chief, Andre Roberts, from the small town of Marshtown, Iowa, 370 pounds. This is an earlier UFC against Dirty Harry Moskowitz. The one thing he has is incredible punching power. That is a big man.
I don't have a game plan. To have a game plan in this sport is like crazy. And you just got to go in there and take it as it comes.
And here comes Andre Roberts, weighing in yesterday at 370 pounds. Fighting out of Tama, Iowa. He calls wrestling and boxing his styles. His manager, Monty Cox, his trainer for this fight, Pat Miletich. A veteran at 33 years old in mixed martial arts, married for 13 years, has 3 boys and a 7-year-old girl, all of whom wrestle.
7-0 in mixed martial arts competition. Native American, says he likes submissions, but I know he respects wrestling, and I've had lots of talks with him about that. And he really loves the fact that he's back here at the UFC.
Now this man debuted in UFC 8 and destroyed Tank Abbott's protege, Paul Herrera, as we showed you a moment ago. Big Daddy Gary Goodridge, also 33 years old, from Trinidad, now fighting out of Barrie, Ontario. And I can tell you one thing, he has an entire nation watching him tonight in Canada on pay-per-view and rooting for him. 33 years old. And he is now going to fight Andre Roberts, as in the last couple of days, Tank Abbott fell ill, and Tank Abbott was unable to take this fight against Big Daddy Gary Goodridge, and Roberts showing great courage to step into the octagon on short notice.
Well, for the first time, Tank Abbott did not make this appearance. Anytime, anywhere has been his motto, and we all know that Tank isn't ducking anything. He's suffering from the flu. Many report that he was down under 240 pounds and had really trained for this fight. We're all disappointed he's not here, but I'm sure Tank will remain one of the favorites here in the octagon.
On a night of young guns, here are 2 33-year-olds, and what a difference in weight. Nearly 130 pounds heavier is Andre Roberts. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is a heavyweight bout between 2 very game contenders, beginning with the fighter standing to my left. He's a wrestler with a mixed martial arts record of 7-0 and a veteran of UFC 17. Standing 6 feet, 2 inches tall, and weighs in at 370 pounds. He is from the Meskwaki Indian Settlement by way of Tama, Iowa. Please welcome Andre Roberts. And his opponent, standing to my right, is no stranger to the octagon. He is a freestyle fighter, making his 8th appearance in the octagon. He is a veteran of UFC 8, UFC 9, UFC 10, and Ultimate 96. Fighting out of Trinidad, Tobago, he's back. He's 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 243 pounds of raw steel and sex appeal. Please welcome Gary Big Daddy Goodrich.
Big Daddy Gary Goodrich, always popular during his UFC career.
Back. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on. Come on.
And here we go. A couple of big-time heavyweights. Oh, a left delivered to Goodrich quickly. A jab from Andre Roberts.
And that's what Goodrich needs to do, speed. Create distance, hit, and move.
Andre has been training a lot, so he took this fight at the last minute, Jeff, but he has been training a lot with Pat Miletich.
Correct, he's been getting constant coaching. He's appeared in others. Ferretti has seen him before. We've had him in the UFC. So he likes this, he's gonna continue. And I like what Goodrich is doing. Very active. Almost looking like a boxer here. Very, very crisp. Oh wow, he's tapping, he's tapping, he's tapping.
He caught him with a good one. Gary Goodrich caught Roberts big time. And he has tapped out very quickly. And Big Daddy reigns victorious.
Andre Roberts tapped. Got hit in the face. He might have gotten poked in the eye or something, and that is why he went ahead and tapped, because he couldn't see right away. But Goodrich, very aggressive, using a lot of motion, a lot of stick and moving. Man, look at those. Pumped up Gary Goodrich, man. There's this nice motion there, and that last punch there did something. And looks as though they're working on his nose now. Not sure if he broke his nose or what here. We have not had a doctor come over to tell us. Right there. Right there's where it happened, and it appears to be the nose.
Don't do that. Okay? All right, come on.
It has been confirmed. Broken nose of Andre Roberts, and that is why he is tapped.
You gonna come to the center? Yeah. Come on, baby. Here we go, baby. Bring yourself here. Good job.
So he gets Andre Roberts, Gary Goodrich with a big blow, and Roberts' return to the octagon is short-lived. Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner at 45 seconds. Gary Big Daddy Goodrich.
So Gary Goodrich, after a long absence from the octagon, returns tonight, and he does it impressively. He had intended to fight Tank Abbott, as we had mentioned before, but he gets a shot to the face of Andre Roberts, and big Andre Roberts suffers a broken nose and taps very early in this matchup. Now here you go. He works him down here, and Andre looks impressive at this time, ready to fire away. But then Gary Goodrich, right coming up, is able to deliver what would be the final shot of this match. He leaned away from the combination there and then came in for more. And that was it. When he got Gary Goodrich in close range and finished the night for Andre Roberts, and Goodrich victorious here as he has re-entered the octagon. His record now goes to 4-4, a veteran of 5 UFCs, including tonight. 2 of his losses to Don Frye, and very confident at 33 years old here this evening. The fans excited about Gary Goodridge tonight. Once again, we are at Casino Magic, and this is the second time we have been here in this beautiful venue. The last time, October 1997, it was Maurice who ironically fought Tank Gavin. And what has happened tonight, most importantly, is the road to the heavyweight championship has lost a fighter. It has lost a fighter in Maurice Smith because Kevin Randleman defeated Maurice Smith. And his road to the belt rolls on, and it will continue to roll. And a confrontation will take place on May 7th against Bas Rutten. They will fight. Forthcoming. Jeff.
Thank you, Mike. I am here with the 2 finalists in the road to the heavyweight championship. They will fight for the title in May. Bas Rutten, Kevin Randleman. I want to start with Kevin. Kevin, tremendous fight today. You've seen Bas. Give us a few of your thoughts of how you interpret Bas Rutten as a fighter and his fighting style.
What can you say? Yeah, his name says it all. Bas Rutten, the world's greatest martial artist. You've got to do your homework. I mean, he's got submission, he's got the total package, and thank goodness, thank God that I have 2 months to prepare for it. You know, I'm definitely going to have to look at some tapes, and I'm definitely going to have to take my time. Every fight's different. I just hope, the Lord willing, that we're both healthy and able to give SEG and UFC a nice showing.
Okay, very good, Kevin. Bas, you got to see Kevin Randleman tonight. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to see him fight before, but I know you fought Maurice Smith. Tell me, how do you size up Kevin Randleman's skills?
Oh, very seriously. I'm going to train hard, very hard for him. Yeah, come on, everybody saw how good he was. You know, he has a lot of explosivity, he's a lot of tremendous athlete. But I'm too, and let's see, we're going to make the best fight ever in the octagon.
Well, he actually said that wrestlers, his legs, he isn't going to feel leg kicks. We all know you're tremendous at leg kicks. Tell me, are your legs going to have impact?
First of all, he said, when they're going to kick me, I'm going to take him down. There's no way on earth I'm going to kick him in his legs. He's going to take me down. Let's try to kick to the head or something, but I'm not going for the body. He's a wrestler. Any kick I do below the waist, he's going to take me down. So it's going to be dangerous to kick for me.
Very interesting. And now you're a product of Kevin, you're a product of the Hammer House and Mark Coleman. How important it is you now to follow in the footsteps. Coleman, obviously a UFC heavyweight title champion. You see that in your future?
With the Lord behind you, anything's possible. You know that, Jeff. With Mark behind me, like I said, ever since the first day I met him, I knew that with him behind me, I knew that anything that I did was possible. He guided me and taught me and took me under his wing, and I was a national champion, Olympic hopeful and everything. And behind him, with him behind me, I don't think that anything can ever go wrong with me. I mean, I love him with all my heart. I give my life for him, to him, in any way possible, and I'm happy to be representing Hammer House and the SCG and the UFC.
Well, Kevin, thank you very much. I want to wish you both the very best in luck in training. Wish you both the very best of luck when you go ahead and meet in May. Would you go ahead and shake hands?
Okay, man, we're going to have a good day.
Kevin Randleman earlier tonight getting his shot for the first time to be in the Ultimate Fighting Championship against a veteran, a former champion, Maurice Smith. Maurice went with the low kick, and as Bas Rutten said, Randleman took him down right away. But surprisingly, he lets his opponent get up. Not once, but twice. But each time, Randleman was able to take Maurice back down to the mat. A flurry of punches. Maurice just trying to defend himself. And very confident after the time period in which the fight took place, and a unanimous decision for Kevin Randleman. And that is why, as it was just officially announced, Randleman will fight Bas Rutten on May 7th for the heavyweight title bout. Very, very confident young man. Joining us here on the side of the octagon now is our matchmaker, John Peretti, and I guess we should stay with the topic of discussion, the hot topic, Randleman. First of all, before we talk about Boss, how impressed were you personally with his performance tonight?
Oh, I think he was incredibly accomplished tonight. I mean, he took it to Maurice. Maurice, unfortunately, couldn't pull the trigger, and I am really impressed with his athleticism. I think he's the most outstanding wrestler on the scene at the moment. Not with Jeff Platnick on my side over here.
Please.
But, you know, I really think bringing him in was important.
I think he's fresh. I think he's energetic. He does bring all of those athletic skills to the octagon. And John, you know, how impressed were you that Randleman is letting Maurice Smith up late in the fight voluntarily?
Yeah, I mean, he's so confident, you know, and he's just a quicker man at this stage of life, and he's explosive. I mean, look what he can produce. And I've been wanting to get him, and you know, and now we got him, and you know, he's proved that we have the best, you know, fighters in the world.
You know, he is a wrestler and always will be first and foremost. But as Jeff and I have talked about, and John, you and I also, he displayed so many more skills than just his ability to grapple. And that is how, as he called himself, a Renaissance fighter, this whole UFC has developed over the past few years.
Yeah, the metamorphosis that's occurred in the last year and a half even has been really impressive. You know, we see big wrestlers coming in who can move like this and who are throwing punches. You know, we see Mark Coleman, you know, increasing his repertoire of technique. And, you know, so the wrestlers are really starting to push. I think Boss is in for the fight of his life.
Well, one thing that impressed me is with that athleticism, with all that power and strength, he had stand-up. I mean, he was still really working hard at the end of that fight and kept taking it to Mo. And afterwards, just you could see how much he had left in size. A lot of adrenaline in there, too, but he's the real deal when it comes to conditioning.
Absolutely. You know, he's the guy that we all are going to watch for now. I mean, Bas Rutten may be the greatest martial artist in the world, but, you know, very possibly here in the octagon, we now have the greatest wrestler in front of us.
Very possible, and it continues to evolve. And that's probably what's most exciting about it. And one thing Maurice Smith always said, it's not the discipline, it's the athlete. And even though he may be a wrestler, it's still that unique combination of athleticism and heart and skill that are blending together to form these fighters.
Absolutely.
John, I know you're going to stay with us for the last fight of the night, our title matchup in the middleweight division. But before that, we'd like to remind you the next time we meet, it will be to look back on a great career for Ultimate Ken Shamrock.
Before he became a champion in the WWF, Ken Shamrock rocked the mixed martial arts world in the UFC.
When I was in the octagon, those were the toughest days of the UFC.
See interviews, never before seen footage, and the legendary battles that made him the world's most dangerous man.
See my classic battles with Royce Gracie, Chemo, and Dan the Beast Severn.
Ultimate Ken Shamrock, fighting April 2nd.
Don't miss it on pay-per-view.
Oh, it will be a wonderful night, as it is a very, very deep and insightful man, Ken Shamrock, who endured a lot during his childhood, and we'll visit about those topics and others. Ultimate Ken Shamrock. Perfect segue to this next fight. One of Ken Shamrock's favorite students, Guy Mezger, re-enters the octagon, and he is trying to avenge the loss of his teammate, Jerry Bolander, at the hands of that man, Tito Ortiz. The Huntington Beach bad boy takes off against Guy Mezger.
Lions Den fighter Guy Mezger last entered the octagon at UFC 13's under 200-pound tournament. Facing judo expert Christoph Leninger, Mezger dominated throughout the regulation and overtime, scoring a victory via judge's decision to move on to the tournament final. Facing him in the finals was an alternate named Tito Ortiz, who had advanced due to injury. Mezger ended up winning the fight by guillotine choke to become the tournament champion. However, the controversy over a possible tap-out by Mezger and an inadvertent stand-up of the fighters has left him eager to prove the victory was no fluke. Tonight, he'll get that opportunity.
I think, you know, he's a lot better than when I first fought him, and he thinks he's going to take it. And it's just once for all, we'll just settle it, you know what I mean? It's not personal, it's business. But
Middleweight Tito Ortiz enters UFC 19, fresh off the heels of a huge victory at UFC 18 last January. This wrestler and submission fighter from Huntington Beach, California, took out favored Lions Den fighter Jerry Bolander in one of the big surprises of the night. The bigger, stronger Ortiz dominated start to finish and proved he was a force to be reckoned with in the UFC's middleweight division. So tonight, Tito Ortiz returns to the octagon to avenge his controversial loss to Guy Mezger at UFC 13. Riding a wave of momentum, he'll face his second Lions Den fighter in 3 months. And given the championship implications surrounding the bout, there's no doubt that this is the biggest fight of Tito Ortiz's young career.
But he comes in very cocky. I mean, a professional fighter, you shouldn't be like that. I mean, I have respect for every other fighter that fight, but now I think I lost a little respect for him just for some of the things that he said.
Now, on a night that we have focused on young guns, you can see that Tito Ortiz was firing many shots at the Lions Den just a couple of months ago. And now he fights again, and his opponent will be Guy Mezger. Guy's last appearance in the octagon was UFC 13 that night we talked about when he choked Tito Ortiz at 3 minutes into the match. That fight took place May 30th, 1997 in Augusta, Georgia. Guy Mezger, one of the leaders of the Lions Den, Jeff.
Certainly is. King of Pancrase, excellent submission artist, former wrestler, good striking skills. Got a good package here, John Peretti.
Well, I tell you something, Mezger has gotten a lot better than people know. The Tito Ortiz that we saw last time is going to be the Tito Ortiz that we see this time, plus, you know.
Tito Ortiz, submission fighter, 23 years old. Fighting out of Tank Abbott's hometown of Huntington Beach, California. He was a friend of Tank's. That relationship has since dissolved, but he made a very impressive statement in his UFC a couple of months ago when he won the middleweight bout against Jerry Bolander.
I see Mezger as, you know, a very qualified stand-up guy. You know, he comes from a karate background. Then he did full contact fighting. He's a more sophisticated stand-up guy, and he's got a lot of leg experience, as do the Lions Den fighters. But he's the king of Pancrase, as Jeff said.
Tail of the tape for this, our featured bout of the night in the middleweight division. The Huntington Beach bad boy at just 24 years old against the very experienced king of Pancrase, Guy Mezger, who gave up that belt for an opportunity to return inside the octagon. Guy is 4-0 in UFC competition. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event of the evening. This is a true grudge match. It has been 15 months since these fierce middleweight competitors sit across from the octagon staring into each other's eyes. Let's begin this middleweight bout, beginning with the fighter standing to my left, a submission fighter with a UFC record of 4-0. He is the UFC 13 tournament champion and a former king of Pancrase. Fighting out of the Lions Den in Houston, Texas, he stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 198 pounds. Please welcome Guy Mezger! And his opponent is a submission fighter with a UFC record of 2-1. He is a 2-time California State Wrestling Champion and veteran of UFC 13 and UFC 18. Standing 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 199 pounds. He is the bad boy from Huntington Beach, California. Please welcome Tito Ortiz.
Former sparring partner of Tank Abbott's, the new Huntington Beach bad boy in Tito's estimation, taking on Guy Mezger.
Rise, what you came for. Are you ready? Are you ready?
And it should be pointed out here that Vitor Belfort at a late date became injured, and Tito Ortiz took this fight on late notice.
Tito shoots quickly.
A lot of weight on the front of Guy Metzger's leg for that preparation. He knew that was coming.
And the wrestler, Ortiz, waited for the leg kick and immediately took him down.
4-0 in the UFC is Guy Mezger. You know, you talk about the Huntington Beach bad boy. Guy said, with a name like Guy, I don't need a nickname.
There's the kind of strength, natural strength that Tito Ortiz exhibits in this kind of a match. I mean, he just almost picked him up from the opposite guard. So with 2 underhooks.
Wrestling, we call that a body lift, and it's tough to do. Tito actually ripped him up. Tried to give him a little slam there.
Now Mezger had trouble early when these two guys met before. And now a flurry of activity, but neither able to land a blow.
You see the power of Ortiz, Jeff?
It's amazing. He really has a lot of power. And a lot of it, you know, I mean, he's very confident in wrestling positions. That's what his background is from. And really, I don't know, he's one of our young guns. How much time has he had to train in MMA?
Already, Guy Metzger's mouth is open and a little confused here.
I just like the way Tito looks. He seems very composed. He's always looking at his opponent. Nice single leg.
Looking for perhaps a submission on the leg, and very active was Guy Mezger.
Very bad position for Guy with such a strong person like Tito.
What was Shamrock again in the corner.
It just seems Tito Ortiz is quicker than Guy Metzger right now. It seems the guy's about a half a step behind.
I thought you'd have some wrestling technique for that one.
That's called super low single leg, and he kept ripping the leg laterally so that each time Metzger tried to rear up and punch off balance, he ripped the leg out, knocking him off balance. Just a low single. But what we call is he stayed with the finish. He just didn't hang on. He actually kept finishing. Another single leg, traditional wrestling hold here.
Let's notice who's on defense.
Entangled arm here. Entangled arm by Metzger. Possible submission hold against Ortiz. Ortiz isn't panicking yet.
Get his feet out, get his feet out.
Now Tito has been training hard in submissions with John Lober and Muay Thai fighter John Spencer. Ken likes what he sees right here. Trying to get Tito Ortiz to tap out. And he's able to break free.
You can only do that position from a closed guard. You can't have one hook under. It's just not going to work. That's how he got the power to move around to the outside.
Ortiz surviving a submission attempt by Metzger. Metzger had the arm, but as you said, he didn't anchor it with the legs.
Yeah, position first. But, you know, it's always the wrestler that's the stronger person in the ring.
Keep working, keep working.
Biggest rematch in the UFC since Royce Gracie and Ken Shamrock met in UFC 5.
Guy, come on,
you
now,
talk about redemption. There is a feeling of that for both fighters tonight.
In response to you there, John, I am somebody that has never been basically stronger than my opponents, but I always had good skill, wind, and speed, and I relied on those assets. But I've seen some strong people, but between these two, definitely Ortiz is the strongest.
Well, that's because you had 2 wrestlers in the ring, and one of them was the stronger. Still, the wrestler was the strongest guy in the ring.
That sounded like a loaded question for me, John. I had a wrong answer no matter what. But Ortiz now on top.
Ortiz's only loss in UFC history was to the man he is fighting against right now.
And understand, at this point in time, Guy is basically stalling.
4 minutes in, 12-minute regulation time period, once again in a 3-minute overtime, and Ken Shamrock closely looking on. He saw Jerry Bohlander defeated by this man.
Now, you know, usually when you turn your back, you get hurt, but Guy made it all the way around.
Guy said if there was one attribute that he brings that gives him advantage against any opponent, he said simply brains. Smarter than everybody else.
Well, I think he's a technical guy, too. You know.
Come on, guys, stay in this.
I am just surprised at how much Ortiz has learned in terms of balancing position here in guard. From what I understand, he's working with Lober, and Lober's doing a great job here because Ortiz is really handling this guard position and grappling skills on the ground very, very well. Submission skills.
It's a very dangerous position for Guy. If he lets go of that arm, Ortiz can get his neck.
Rear naked.
Now some elbow strikes to the backside.
I'm sure Guy, sorry, I stepped on you. Guy might go under if he gets a chance. He really looked tired at that point.
Yeah, he did, going down with any drop.
Slow motion.
He seemed to have to step slow the whole night. I mean, Ortiz was vulnerable a couple times and he counterattacked, but Mesco got him to step off.
He's behind him again. Guy can go for a knee from here.
He has to turn it. He has to turn it right. Up high, triangle.
That's right. A little more pivot needed. Look, he tossed him off like a puppy.
Left hand connects again. Guy Mezger has taken a couple of strikes to the facial area.
Guy's a very tough person, and he knows how to take punches. I still think Tito has a terrific advantage here because he's just so aggressive.
Well, one has to wonder, too, did he get over-aggressive? Is he going to burn here? But look at him go again here. He's half guard, but a tangled arm again by Mezger.
The same exact mistake Mezger made before. He did it from an open guard and not a closed guard. Therefore, Tito steps around to the right.
Pull it straight out.
Able to relieve the pressure to the shoulder. Very good.
Crucifix.
Guy Mezger has been around the Lions Den for a long, long time. And as you said, he has the heart that you would expect of a Lions Den fighter. Looking to work the arm here.
Well, this is close to that. He's overhooked both the legs with his legs to try to anchor it, but it's still not enough. He's able to move his hips.
Tito's holding his shorts. See the stretch on his shorts? He's powering through. But he's closing his guard now. You see now Guy's got a much more advantageous way to get to that position. And he just powered out again, right?
It almost looked as though Mezger tried to force it and it just slipped off, whether Mezger's the one running out of there. And there, covering the mouth again. One of those tactics just to interfere with the breathing.
That's one of the things that everyone says is so important. When you get yourself in a bad situation, you need to remain patient, and that is what the experienced fighters are able to do.
Guy closes his guard again. See, he has to underhook to relieve the pressure of the assault, you know, the physical pressure, but he has to close his guard to attack. And there lies the dilemma.
Once again lies the lesson in what Ultimate Fighting is all about. It is a chess match, and everyone is so well-rounded now. Both of these young men understand the entire fight.
Let's go!
John, yeah, pushing him up against the fence, smart tactic, limit his range, limit his mobility.
Again, Guy goes for the underhooks, has to close it to attack, and he's got bad position again.
John, having looked at this, I see Ortiz having accomplished everything.
They're back on their feet. Oh, and Ortiz tried to strike quickly.
Oh, he's tired.
He's on his heels and he's going backwards.
Mezger looks tired. And there, again, that half a step slow.
Uh-oh, trouble. Trying to bury the choke.
I don't know if he needs to try to lever that. It looks like he's trying to put him on his back. I would have gone straight for the guillotine there.
Yeah, he absolutely did. You know, he got that.
You call it a head chancery there, yeah.
I knew you had a name for that, Joe.
Well, that's wrestling, yeah. You guys got a million of them there, and half of them we can't pronounce in some of these martial arts disciplines.
Here's Tito Ortiz being lazy. He could go behind.
Lazy or inexperienced?
No, he's just tired too, you know. I mean, he's going to try to step behind with his left leg, but you see how he's holding him with the other arm?
What's the punch, guy?
Shamrock.
Work it.
Again already, Petey Williams.
Watch it, guys.
Very impressively here tonight.
I think Ken is a terrific
What's it either side?
Well, certainly he's proven himself in the octagon and
Guy, come on!
Performance of the Lions Den.
You want to talk about the tactician?
You're a warrior.
Right there.
He's not happy with Guy's performance here. But you see, Tito is not going for the neck. He's really pummeling him from behind when you would think he'd try to get the neck at this point.
I would think Tito would be great for
Face off. You know, I mean, Guy's got nothing left here. Goes for the knee as from before and gets
side mount.
Yeah, you know,
his back again.
Tito's well educated at this point in time, and he's proven that you know, he can outlast all this stuff.
As Ken Shamrock would say he's trying to pound him into submission.
Right, Tito Ortiz laughing.
I'll tell you, John McCarthy's going to start looking at this seriously if Mesker does not offer some form of defense. That's going to do it.
There it is.
Right there.
Tito Ortiz
Doesn't matter.
has defeated Guy Mezger, and he's firing the young guns again. But not respectfully into the corner of the Lions' Den.
It almost looked to me like he didn't give a damn for submission. He wanted to pound him into, you know, a state of unconsciousness.
Certainly he's going to understand the value of submission later on in terms of longevity rather than keeping the fight going. But Tito Ortiz, impressive, came out offensively, took the fight to Mezger the entire time, and then finished the fight. Great job in all positions.
The rematch successful.
The shirt.
Excuse me. I would have thrown a talent if I thought he
The shirt black like the Lions' Den
He's not intelligent
color.
in defending himself, and he's no, excuse me. The point is, I can't let too many blows go.
Okay, well tell me this, John.
And looking here at the replay, just great action by Ortiz, very active even within Mezger's guard, hitting him with all kinds of strikes. Mezger just couldn't solve the riddle. Each time he turned in, Ortiz would just keep his hips down in the sprawl and never let him out.
Tito was not interested in submitting him. He wanted to hurt him. He wanted to pound him.
It did appear there at the end he passed on the choke to continue to strike.
And a double statement being made. He avenges his only defeat inside the octagon, and he wins again against the Lions' Den, and then shows disrespect towards the Lions' Den corner afterwards.
I told John I would. The way to get in the middle, be a sport.
Well, Tito Ortiz, not only did he avenge his only loss, or revenge his only loss, but he's continuing to impress everyone in the mixed martial arts world. The end of the fight here again. This is where he was hanging out on top, but he again either catches his second win or senses this is the time to attack, and he moves out towards the front, and he'll start hitting.
I think he really shows here that he has total control. He loads for the knee and holds it up tight, and there he fires. Again and again.
Mezger's inability to get out of this position right here is what cost him the fight.
And you know he's not even trying.
Here's where it starts.
What's that called when he lifts his ankle like that?
I don't know what that, it's stand up. He's trying to stand up there, and Ortiz is just staying in the ride.
I'm
staying
truly
behind
disappointed.
him.
I know what this is called. Pounding your opponent into submission. Ken Shamrock displayed those skills during his career in the UFC, and tonight Tito Ortiz does it again against a member of the Lions' Den.
And this is the beginning of the end right here when Mezger offered no response in defense here. That John McCarthy comes right in, and he's looking real close. And when he just doesn't offer anything back, he's going to step in here. And here, right there, he just steps in and says, that's it. You've got to be able to defend yourself.
McCarthy on it.
And Ken Shamrock very upset with the disrespect shown towards the Lions' Den corner, and John McCarthy, the smartest man inside the octagon, throws a little wider on that potential fire right there.
Well, Tito Ortiz, his fighting talked loudly. I'm not sure about his post-fight statements in the face of the Lions' Den and our audience.
Well, you know, it's a tough gang out there, the Lions' Den, and Tito Ortiz stands alone. So he has to be defensive.
And we were all wondering whether or not Ken Shamrock would make a return to the UFC. I'm not sure that anybody thought it would be here at UFC 19.
Yeah. The nice part about this is Tito Ortiz is a young, good-looking, well-spoken guy, you know?
He truly is, and hopefully as he continues to mature in his fighting world, he is going to be a great fighter and potential champion. He is now in the middle, John, I would assume, of the middleweight title picture here. Let's go to Mike Goldberg with a victorious Tito Ortiz.
Well, a very victorious and very animated Tito Ortiz. First of all, congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I wish I had more time to work on this, man. I got tired quicker than I thought I would. It was pretty hard. Guy Metzger was tough as shit. He was a lot tougher than last time. I know he has a lot more experience than me. Whew, I worked hard. And I didn't think they were going to stop it that quick, but I caught him with some good elbows.
You said in your pre-fight interview that you border on cockiness. All right, maybe you are a cocky fighter. Is that good or bad?
It's not cockiness, it's more confidence. Before my fights, I don't start as using going, well, I'm going to go and beat the shit out of the guy. I ain't like that. I come in here and I let my fight do the talking. That's what I came in here to do. I showed my fighting. I got called in 3 weeks before this fight, and I tried to train as hard as I could. It's kind of a last notice thing, and I had enough conditioning from when I fought Jerry Bolander, so.
2-0, 2 straight wins against the Lions Den. You fired some shots at the Lions Den afterwards, and Ken Shamrock is upset. What is your reaction to that?
I'd be upset as hell, too. I beat up on his 2 #1 contenders in the room. It's kind of hard. I mean, I kind of beat up the little alley cats and sent them back to the litter box. That's pretty much what I call it, so. You guys saw what it was on film.
It was indeed, and impressive again. What does the future hold for Tito Ortiz?
I know, hopefully get a shot at a title belt. Either Frank or Belfort, whatever comes first. I just want that gold around my waist. I know this is pretty much kind of a redemption for all my fans in Huntington Beach and all my friends and family that said you had him in the beginning. I didn't really thought I had him. I just thought he was blocking my knees from my first fight. But this one, I kind of showed it, so got to see who was a better athlete in this.
Are you the best middleweight in the world?
Nah. There's others. I mean, in this sport, it's kind of hard. You came in here undefeated. Everyone's planning to lose in this sport. I mean, there's always someone bigger and better out there. You just got to work as hard, and hopefully you prepare yourself for it. That's what it comes up to.
Well, you avenged your only loss in the UFC tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Ron Hatkins from Spanky's, Mike Maddox for 25, www.submissionfighting.com, and all of my fans in Huntington Beach and around the world. This fight was for you guys, man.
Impressive again. Thanks you, Tito. Here you go, Jeff.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Certainly Tito Ortiz, an impressive performance here at UFC 19. John, square in the middle now of the middleweight title picture, certainly.
Yeah, in my mind, you know, the ultimate Evan Tanner Tito Ortiz match is brooding.
Sounds like our matchmaker's got some plans here. Next up for the UFC is going to be April 2nd, Ultimate Shamrock. We are going to take a look at the career of Ken Shamrock. Great fighter here in the UFC, super fight champion, UFC champion, and of course, the mentor of the Lions Den. Lions Den certainly a very successful fighting club here in the United States and here in the Octagon. What do you think of Ken Shamrock? What do you think of Shamrock's career?
Well, I wasn't privy to a lot of Shamrock's fights. I mean, I was in another organization at the time. So I think he's a dominant figure. He's an amazing corner man. He's not having a great time right now. He's batting 50-50, I would say. So, you know, Lions Den have been dominant for so long, and I don't know where it's going. You know, I really need to look at it and match it accordingly.
Okay, well, right now, Mike Goldberg is with another former UFC champion, Mark the Hammer Coleman. Mike?
Well, thank you, Jeff, and thank you, John. And Mark the Hammer Coleman, a great former champion, and I know you want to be back in the Octagon again, but let's focus on, I know, what is very near and dear to your heart tonight, your student's performance, Kevin Randleman.
Oh, yeah, I just love him to death. He works so hard, harder than any man I know. When he puts his mind to something, there's nothing he can't do, and I'm just so proud of him and just happy to be here and be part of this event.
His quickness was something that he was able to utilize to neutralize Maurice's ability to try to strike him with the legs early. Do you agree?
He's a total package. He's got quickness, speed, power. He's just an athlete. He can, like I said, he can do whatever he wants, and I'll give him a couple days off, and we're going to get ready for Bass Rutten, and we're going to take it to him.
You know, Mark, it's very interesting. Kevin told me a story earlier today. He said he was a very timid freshman coming from Sandusky, Ohio, to try to wrestle for the Ohio State Buckeyes. You were a national champion. You had completed your career. You were an assistant coach at that time. Did you see something of that little timid young man standing in the corner that made you put your arm around him and take him under your wing?
You know, I'll help anybody that wants help, and he was there, and from day one he worked so hard, and he just deserves what he got tonight, because you know, he's just an incredible athlete, and I look for him to do great things here in the future.
Times have been difficult. The results have not been what you have wanted over the past few UFCs, but still you're confident, and I know continuing to work on your skills to become well-rounded, to get back to the winning ways that you impressed us with in your past.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They've added the rules, and I understand that, so I'm improving on my feet to get comfortable, and I will be back in there, and I do look to regain the belt. Hopefully, I don't think me and Kevin have a fight, but I'd like a shot at the title again, no doubt about it.
Well, no question, with your past history of great success in the UFC, you have earned that opportunity. Mark, as you look at the involvement of the fighters, are you amazed? When you were the champion, everyone was still pretty much a wrestler or a kickboxer, and you kind of said, I'll take my wrestling skills against your kickboxing skills. But the metamorphosis of the fighters over the past year and a half has been absolutely amazing. Are you impressed?
Definitely. Everybody's, this sport is just, it's grown so much, and everybody's so well-rounded now. You have to be able to do everything, feet, ground. But the rules have made things different. I still think you take away the rules and I can ground and pound anybody, but the rules are there, so we need to improve on our feet, and that's what I'm going to do.
Congratulations for Kevin Randleman, and as always, you are a classy champion, Mark the Hammer Coleman. Mark the Hammer Coleman, and the desire never goes away with this man, Jeff. He wants back inside this octagon. Back to you.
Great champion, Mike, you're right. Mark the Hammer Coleman. And let's take a look forward now. May 7th, UFC. Well, the road to the heavyweight title has reached its destination. Kevin Randleman will be taking on Bas Rutten. And it was Randleman's dismantling of Maurice Smith here at UFC 19 that has earned him that chance to fight Bas Rutten. Of course, Bas Rutten, great victory over Tsuyoshi Kosaka for him to get to the final of this road to the heavyweight championship. Impressed by both these fighters, particularly Randleman and his composure in going ahead and taking on Maurice Smith. Never felt out of place, felt very, very comfortable letting that opponent get back up to his feet.
Let's take a look back at Maurice Smith, Kevin Randleman, the highlighted heavyweight fight on this card tonight. And every time Maurice fired, he found himself on his backside.
And in fact, most of this fight, Maurice Smith used guard. And what was very surprising and what shocked Mark Coleman in Randleman's corner is near the end of the fight, he had it locked. If he just stayed on top of Maurice Smith, he decided to let him up. And in my mind, and as you were saying, a very confident young man, and perhaps his skills are finally coming together as he continues to train, and now in his sights, in his dreams, is that heavyweight destination, the title.
Now the title, in fact, will have an opportunity to belong to none other than Kevin Randleman, who Mark Coleman just talked about in a very, very positive way. And today is Kevin's son Calvin's birthday, and he has a special message.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Calvin. Happy birthday to you. Daddy loves you, and I'll be home. And Jasmine Capri, I love you too. My heart is always there with you guys.
And he heads home with a victory for Jasmine Capri and his son, Calvin, and happy birthday to Calvin. Another good night, but another night in which the Lions Den splits their fights. Bolander and now Guy Mezger defeated in back-to-back events.
Well, Tito Ortiz is the reason why, and Tito Ortiz continues to impress everyone who is respectful of MMA competitions. He's doing nothing but get better. His striking was very apparent against Jerry Bolander, but what very much impressed me here was he escaped those submission attempts by Mezger, and he was able to handle himself on the ground very, very well, never really getting himself out of position. But the one thing from the very start just seemed to be the speed. Ortiz is very quick, and it just seemed to always be a half a step ahead of whatever Mezger tried to do, whether offensively or in counter.
Yeah, no question about that. And then he had a message for the Lions Den. It was not well received by the Ultimate Warrior, Ken Shamrock. And to get inside Ken Shamrock, what you need to do in April is call your local cable provider or satellite distributor and be part of a very special night. It will be called Ultimate Ken Shamrock. Never before seen video. Interviews, insight with one of the greats in UFC history.
Before he became a champion in the WWF, Ken Shamrock rocked the mixed martial arts world in the UFC.
When I was in the octagon, those were the toughest days of the UFC.
See interviews, never-before-seen footage, and the legendary battles that made him the world's most dangerous man.
See my classic battles with Horace Gracie, Chemo, and Dan the Beast Severn.
Ultimate Ken Shamrock, fighting April 2nd.
Don't miss it on pay-per-view.
Well, Ken has a burning desire, and maybe it increased tonight to get back inside the octagon, and perhaps we could see, after Boss Rutten fights against Kevin Randleman, a future matchup against the great Ken Shamrock.
Well, certainly so. Ken has always had an itch to get back in here. This is where he was truly born in MMA competition that led to his WWF career. But really, right now, the star that's rising is Tito Ortiz. And background in wrestling, but right now he says he's the new bad boy of Huntington Beach, and he's backing it up with his talent.
No question about it. He said that to me in the post-fight interview. And we will see you once again live on May 7th. And it will be a memorable evening, as that night there will be a heavyweight title given out. The belt will go to the winner of the matchup between Kevin Randleman and Boss Rutten, May 7th. And for all the updated information on the UFC, the greatest mixed martial artists in the world fight in the Super Bowl, the UFC. Dial it in on the internet at www.seg.com. UFC 19 is now officially in the books, and it was another splendid evening of activity in which Petey Williams was victorious, but so was Evan Tanner. It was a night in which strikes were delivered and stars were born, where old veterans went down, but with a gracious fight. The future looks bright for one of the many young guns in Kevin Randleman. Then the big boys went, and Gary Goodrich was too much for the Chief, Andre Roberts. What does the future hold for Big Daddy? That is a bad boy, but this young man may be even more evil. Mezger wanted to prove that the first victory was not a fluke. And there is no fluke about what this man is able to demonstrate in his fighting skills. Tito Ortiz disposes of another member of the Lion's Den. He is all about confidence. First Bolander, now Mezger. Tito's on a roll. So long, everybody, from Bay St. Louis, Mississippi.